Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Survive for all. Demon God level talent, my skills never cools down. Chapter 61. However, he is only responsible for domestic affairs, and international affairs are not under his control. Let those old guys worry about it. Recently, the superiors have given him a death order and asked him to take charge of two important tasks. The first one is to do all the work related to the martial arts examination. The future is definitely an era for super players, and China must be at the forefront. The second one is to contact Player Zero as soon as possible. Since the public beta of the game, Zero has completely lost contact. Because all closed beta players are no longer able to travel through again. It is not impossible to travel through time, but you must give 10 tickets for purple materials. Yesterday, Li Yong contacted the principals of all universities and gathered all the current super players in Huasha, and only managed to get a total of 2 pieces of purple materials. It is estimated that it can still be found abroad, but the purple material is too rare, and other countries will definitely not be willing to trade it. I'm afraid it won't be possible for them to contact Zero in a short period of time. Alas, sighed. This is the most powerful super player in the world, but it is a pity that he cannot be used by the country. 3 days later, registration for the National Martial Arts Examination has officially begun. The total number of applicants across the country has exceeded 70 million. People as old as 70 and students as young as 16 are all within the scope of registration. It didn't take long for someone to spot the usiness opportunity. Survival training classes, outdoor training classes, fitness and physique breakthrough classes, etc. are popping up like mushrooms after a rain. At the same time, the ancient Chinese martial arts that no one cared about also became popular. But the school is very strict in selecting martial arts candidates. All assessment standards are aligned with the Special Forces selection standards. The official explanation is also very simple. The other world is very dangerous, and monsters can appear at any time. If you can't run 10 kilometers in one breath, people will be gone within minutes of entering. Although many people are still dissatisfied, this makes sense. Moreover, most people come here to sign up because of impulse. If they really encounter a monster, I'm afraid 99% of them will deliver food to the monster for free. Therefore, the first martial arts examination only included a few 100,000 people, and most of them were active military personnel. These people will all go to superpower universities in various places and undergo special training to prepare for entering the Black Restricted Zone. At this time, Black Restricted Area No. 7, several helicopters flew slowly over. Zhang Xiaolong and his team members jumped out of the helicopter, and a huge military base had been established in front of them. In just a few days, the Huasha Kingdom established a large number of military bases in 14 black restricted areas, with all kinds of facilities available. As Zhang Xiaolong and others arrived, a slender female officer slowly walked over after receiving the information. "Hello, Captain Zhang, I am your counselor, let's go in and talk." Zhang Xiaolong nodded and quickly followed the female officer to the base. "Captain Zhang, you should have received the above documents. Academician Wang will be here in a moment." Zhang Xiaolong nodded. Principal Chen had already told him that their mission this time was to protect a geologist from exploring the Black Restricted Area. The Black Restricted Area number 7 corresponds to the island they were on before. After waiting for a while, an old man in his 60s wearing glasses walked in, followed by an assistant. Academician Wang's back is straight and his steps are fast. He does not look like an old man in his 60s at all. After a brief moment of reserve, Zhang Xiaolong and his group drove a military armored vehicle slowly toward the Black Restricted Area. In the distance, there are uninhabited mountainous areas. But at this moment, they were shrouded in black fog, making it completely unclear what they looked like inside. Entering the fog, the surrounding scenery began to blur. They drove for 10 minutes, and as they slowly advanced on the mountain road, a bright light suddenly appeared in front of them. Beach, reef, sun, and endless sea. The sea was very calm with almost no ripples. The pickup truck didn't stop until it reached the beach. Looking back, they realized that they had actually driven from the sea. On the sea, a large black fog shrouded the coastline, which looked particularly strange. As soon as Zhang Xiaolong and the others came out, a 4 to 5 meter tall blue crab spotted them. Although the blue crab doesn't know what these little ones are, they are so small, so they must be food. Billy, Billy. Soon, the huge body pressed towards a group of people very quickly. When they saw the blue crab, Zhang Xiaolong and his team members were already ready. This crab monster is very strong, and its carapace is as hard as iron. They must be extra careful if they want to kill this crab monster. Half an hour later, the huge figure of the blue crab slowly fell to the ground. Zhang Xiaolong and his teammates were all panting. This crab monster is so strong. Fortunately, all of their teams are experts with 3-star talents and are strong enough. If they were replaced by other teams, they would probably be wiped out here in a matter of minutes. Academician Wang on the side clapped his hands and couldn't help but sigh. Captain Zhang deserves to be a member of Qianlong. You are very powerful. Old Chen told me before that you have the qualifications to become a dragon. When I see you today, you are really good. Zhang Xiaolong was embarrassed. Academician Wang spoke quite nicely. Academician Wang, let's start quickly. It's not advisable to stay here for a long time. There are man-eating monsters everywhere. If we stay for a second longer, we will be in greater danger. Academician Wang nodded, and his assistant took out various equipment from the carriage and began to conduct a preliminary inspection of the surrounding geology. Zhang Xiaolong and the others were not idle either. Everyone began to control the drones and flew around, monitoring every move in the distance. Half an hour later, another big blue crab came to the beach. Zhang Xiaolong and his team tried their best and finally killed the big blue crab. Then a group of people got into the pickup truck and quickly left the sand. Sitting in the pickup truck, Zhang Xiaolong looked at the picture on the drone. An elite blue crab, nearly 10 meters tall, was coming here quickly. Such a terrifying creature is definitely not something their team can handle. In fact, Zhang Xiaolong was a little curious, since they could reach the desert island through the black fog. So can these giant creatures on desert islands also come to Blue Star through the black fog? The pickup truck moved forward slowly and quickly returned to the base outside the restricted area along the original road. There are hundreds of such teams across the country. They bring various researchers with them and are constantly collecting various information from other worlds. Bureau 826 Underground Secret Base. All the latest news about Black Zone is rounded up here. Then after being sorted out, it is submitted to the Supreme Council. Report, Black Zone number 12, Team 018 has lost contact. Report, a 10-meter-sized super monster appeared near the black restricted area No. 9, requesting support. Requesting support. Report, the latest news from the Research Institute, special energy matter has been discovered in a different world. Recently, Huasha State has gathered thousands of the country's top researchers to study the world in the copy from all aspects. After a week of research, they quickly discovered a special energy substance. This substance is not only extremely active, but can also promote the rapid evolution of various organisms around the world, and has certain regional characteristics. The closer to the black restricted area, the more intensive these energies are. Previously, the Chinese government just wanted to stabilize the situation by saying that spiritual energy was revived, but unexpectedly, it actually came true. Now the spirit is really revived. Recently, heads of state from all over the world have sent cordial condolences. They suspect that all this is caused by China. But this kind of thing must not be admitted. Sir, in recent days, people with awakened talents have begun to appear all over the country. 108 cases have appeared, and I'm afraid there will be more that have not been discovered. Li Yong listened to the report of the people below with a serious expression. Recently, many soldiers of China's special forces have become players, but it is very surprising that only 1 in 10,000 of these players can awaken their talents. Even if the talent is awakened, it is only a 1-star or 2-star ordinary talent. Among ordinary people, talented people began to appear one after another, but they were not players. Before, they always thought that awakening talents were bound to players, but now it seems that this may not be the case. From now on, let the troops from various places cooperate with the local police to bring all people with awakened talents to superpower colleges. They must undergo unified training. At the same time, make detailed statistics of all abilities and keep them confidential. These are the talents of our country, and they have the priority to become players. Soon, a large number of troops began to move across the country. Every piece of information about those with awakened talents is recorded in the database. Sunday, Shacheng No. 7 Middle School, on the playground. Zhang Fan was sweating profusely on the playground. Even though the bell rang for the end of get out of class, he continued to exercise without stopping. The students around them are also practicing hard, and each one is flying higher than the last. Brother dog, you're working too hard. You got up at 3 o'clock yesterday and have been practicing until now. You're going to get caught. Several classmates were yelling and cursing nearby, but Zhang Fan remained unmoved. Do you still want to be a gamer if you don't want to play? You want to eat shit, you can have everything in your dream. The new physical education teacher of the school placed the treadmill on the playground. He kept practicing running and shouted loudly. Don't stop, practice till death. 2 months later, there will be another martial arts registration exam. As long as you pass it, you will be the next Luffy, the next Naruto, and the next Saitama. And you will also have the right of first choice for your spouse. If you can't practice to death, practice to death. Let me rush. After he finished speaking, he started to speed up on the treadmill and practice hard. He will also take the martial arts exam in 2 months. Who doesn't have the dream of becoming a transcendent? Soon, all the figures who stopped on the playground got up and started running again. Zhang Fan dragged his exhausted body and ran on the playground. He looked back under the tree. A graceful figure was exercising under the tree. She was very thin, wearing a hat and a mask, covering her whole body. And between the sleeves on the left, there was nothing. This girl's name is Bai Yan. When she was 16 years old, she was severely burned in a fire and lost an arm. Under the hat, there is thinning hair. In the mask, there is a face as ferocious as an evil spirit. Even though the mask she was wearing made it difficult for her to breathe, she was unwilling to take it off. But such a girl also signed up for the martial arts exam. This is a very stupid behavior in Zhang Fan's opinion. With her physical fitness, how can she pass the Special Forces training test? She doesn't even have a sound body, so how can she kill monsters? He's just a poor man. Zhang Fan was about to look away when suddenly several people walked over from a distance. Several people in military uniforms came to the playground. They were fully equipped and walked straight to Bai Yan. After a few brief exchanges, Zhang Fan watched Bai Yan being taken away by several people, got into a military vehicle, and disappeared outside the school gate. Soon, the surrounding students gathered around and everyone was talking about it. 1 day later, a helicopter slowly flew to Xuanshan Super High School. Zhang Xiaolong's team brought a disabled girl to Principal Chen's office. Principal Chen looked at the girl in front of him and tried his best to maintain a kind smile. Child, don't be afraid. I am the principal of Xuanshan Superpower High School, you can call me Principal Chen. I believe Zhang Xiaolong has already told you about it on the way, and I brought you here this time just to confirm your ability again. Quote. Bai Yan huddled her whole face under her hat, her eyes averted, and she didn't dare to look directly at others. Since she was burned by the fire, she has never dared to look directly at others, and her character has become extremely cowardly and inferior. No problem. Bai Yan nodded, she never refuses other people's requests. Principal Chen smiled, took out a little white rabbit from behind, and handed it to Bai Yan. I saw Bai Yan taking some hair from the little rabbit, and then retreated 10 meters away. She carefully looked at everyone around her, then spread her palms forward and closed her eyes. Just hearing a snap, the little rabbit in front of him suddenly disappeared, as if teleporting, and came directly to Bai Yan's feet. This is Bai Yan's awakened 4-star inherent talent, media summoning. As long as any part of the target's body is obtained, the target can be summoned in all directions through the medium. However, this ability also has major flaws. First of all, the summoned target is not under her control and is completely free. Secondly, the summoned target will continue to consume her energy. When her energy is exhausted, the target will return to the original place. Principal Chen looked thoughtfully at the talent of the girl in front of him. This ability is an extremely rare space-based ability. Although it has no direct lethality, if used well, it is definitely of strategic significance. For example, you can summon the enemy's leader away, then ambush and advance and behead him. The requirement is just a piece of hair from the other person. And this is just a way to develop her ability. He believes that this ability has greater potential. Principal Chen looked at the girl who was bowing her head and cowering in front of him, and the smile on his face became more kind. Child, what is your dream? Bai Yan nervously grabbed the hem of her skirt. She didn't dare to look directly into Principal Chen's eyes. Because she was very ugly, her whole body was severely burned by the fire, and her body looked like a terrifying and extremely ugly monster. Even every time she sees herself in the mirror, she feels very scared. Bai Yan lowered her head and looked away. I thought, I wanted to be a player. My mother said that with current medical technology, my injury could not be cured. But now that my spiritual energy has revived, I feel that supernatural power may be able to heal my injuries. Quote. After Bai Yan finished speaking, her head bowed even lower. It doesn't matter if it can't be cured. Just let me be eaten by a monster like this. I won't cause you any trouble. After Bai Yan finished speaking, her whole head had shrunk into the shape of an ostrich. Principal Chen looked at the frightened girl in front of him and nodded. Zhang Xiaolong, take her down and have a good rest. From now on, she will follow you. Quote. Soon, Zhang Xiaolong took Bai Yan and left the office. As Zhang Xiaolong and the others left, Principal Chen picked up the phone and slowly dialed a number. Hey, is this Major General Wang? Hey, I'm Lao Chen. Oops, I'm really bothering you, I'm bothering you. I found a special awakened person here. Yes. I sent the information, please take a look. After making the call, Principal Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Calling the boss in the middle of the night is really going to kill him. Soon, Bureau 826 received a secret message. All the leaders got up in the middle of the night and held a small meeting. An hour later, the meeting ended and Project Zero was officially launched. In the conference room, Li Yong put down the phone in his hand. Project Zero has been approved by the higher authorities. For Player Zero, the people above value it more than him. They even rank Plan Zero first and ask themselves to execute it as soon as possible. This time they discovered a special talent among all those with awakened talents. This girl named Bai Yan is very likely to bring Player Zero back to Blue Star. But now there is a problem, they do not have the medium to summon Player Zero. Li Yong made a phone call and dialed Principal Chen's number. Old Chen, you should send someone to Wang Meng's house now to collect Wang Meng's personal belongings. All clothing, underwear, even a hair. Bring them all back to me. Soon, Zhang Xiaolong and his party got into the pickup truck again and drove to Wang Meng's house. Li Ming behind him sighed. Hey, Captain, you're not letting anyone sleep in the middle of the night. What are you going to do again this time? Zhang Xiaolong had a gloomy face and replied irritably. Go find Mao. Li Ming was stunned. What the hell? Looking for trouble? He asked curiously. Where are you looking for? The teammate next to him couldn't bear it any longer and kicked him over. Can you go sleep next to me? In this way, a group of people came to Wang Meng's home. Under the strange eyes of Wang Meng's parents, they emptied everything in Wang Meng's room. There really wasn't even a hair left. However, the final result was unsatisfactory. Bai Yan shook her head. All these items had lost their activity. They cannot serve as a medium for summoning. Li Yong was not surprised when he received this news. He originally had the mentality of giving it a try. Then let's start implementing Project Zero. We should mobilize the whole country and collect 10 pieces of purple materials. It should still be possible. As long as 10 pieces of purple materials are obtained, people can be sent to travel to the desert island again and get in touch with Zero. By then the problem of summoning the medium will be solved. Soon, he issued orders one after another. A large number of player troops began to enter the 14 black restricted areas, looking for traces of purple materials. At the same time, Li Yong also arranged a team of the most professional diplomatic negotiation team. From now on, you will contact the major countries to get some purple quality materials back. One of the negotiators below was a little confused. Director, how can you cheat? There are probably only a few copies of this thing in the world, and those big countries are not fools. Li Yong glared at him. Do you think I'm a fool? Humph. Just say that we know some secret information and can share it with them, but we must give something in exchange. You make up the rest yourself. Don't forget, we are in a war-torn situation. The people on the other side nodded repeatedly, and they were right. This was not the first time they had been deceived like this. Li Yong took a sip of wolfberry tea and narrowed his eyes. Anyway, just keep talking. What if you really cheat a few of them? That's pure profit. The next day, Zhang Xiaolong took Bai Yan to the school's underground air raid shelter. In front of them, there was a huge iron cage, and a black armored beast was struggling wildly inside. At this time, Bai Yan was holding a crossbow in her hand. This is one of the only blue weapons in the country and is extremely rare. Brother Xiaolong, do I really want to kill it? Bai Yan stood nervously in front of the iron cage, trembling all over. This was the first time she had seen such a big ant, and it made people sweat all over. Zhang Xiaolong spoke slowly. If you want to become a player, you have to kill it. Only after killing the monster can you get the player panel. Go ahead and don't hesitate any longer. Quote, Li Ming also responded. Sister Bai Yan, don't be afraid, shoot it. Your treatment is already very good, you can kill it outside the cage. I think if we wanted to kill this monster, we had to open the cage and fight it hand to hand. Quote, but even though people around her continued to encourage Bai Yan refused to take action. Bai Yan, kill it. Just kill it and you can become a player. By then your body will be digitized, and all your injuries will be healed. Quote, Zhang Xiaolong was encouraging her, but Bai Yan still didn't dare to take action. Li Ming next to him really couldn't stand it. He kept pushing Bai Yan towards the black armored beast from behind. As it continued to approach, the body's survival instinct took over fear, and the crossbow was pressed. Ding! Kill the black armored beast and gain 5 experience points. As the black armored hand fell, Bai Yan's body began to emit bursts of fluorescence. This was because she was obtaining the player panel and her body was being digitized. Zhang Xiaolong walked over and used decompose on the body of the black armored beast. Soon the body of the black armored beast turned into dots of starlight and dissipated. There was only a thick carapace left in front of him. And this is just the beginning. Soon, another monster was sent to Bai Yan. Orders have been issued from above. As an important figure in Project Zero, Bai Yan will be given a large amount of resources to upgrade her level as soon as possible. Now these monsters sealed in iron cages are delicious. In foreign countries, such a lowly monster can be sold for $10 million or even have a price but no market. Because this is the ticket to transcendence. And on the other side, a large number of superpower teams rushed into the black restricted area, looking for traces of the purple material. In penalty area No. 10, the 5-member wolf hunt team came to the monster game world. They used drones to clear the way and carefully search the surroundings. The wolf hunting team are all the most elite special forces in China, and recently they have all become players and their strength has become stronger. Captain, the people above are not crazy, are they? Looking for purple rare materials. Even if it's a 10-meter monster, we need hundreds of players to hunt it down. And such a terrifying monster only explodes blue materials. Where do we find the purple material? That's right, Captain. Even if we find it, we won't be able to defeat it. The captain of the wolf hunting team sighed and explained. Even if we can't do it, we have to do it. This is part of Project Zero. The leader has already told me that this plan may be related to the life and death of mankind. And you don't have to worry, it's enough for us to find clues to the purple material, and we don't have to go all out. Quote. While several people were talking, someone suddenly exclaimed in a low voice. Captain, there is a huge corpse on the beach in front, many monsters. Hearing the exclamation, everyone lay down and observed the situation ahead through the drone. I saw a large lobster carcass dozens of meters high lying on the beach, with countless black armored beasts and blue crabs climbing on it, gnawing on the scraps of meat inside. The captain frowned and led everyone back slowly. Let's retreat. There are too many monsters here. Report this news. Soon, a group of people left the black restricted area. Monster games invade reality. Spiritual energy revived. A super player appears. While all the super players in China were risking their lives to implement Project Zero, Wang Meng was happily eating barbecue. Hey, Boss Xie, don't be sad. Isn't it just a female crab? If this one is gone, there will be another one. Billy, Billy, hey, you can't say that. As the saying goes, the next one is better, and the next one is better. When I return to Blue Star, I will introduce you to 100 female hairy crabs. When Boss Xie heard this, his eyes stood up high. This is possible. The master was really good to him. Wang Meng patted Boss Xie on the shoulder and nodded with satisfaction. Now that everyone has become single, he instantly became more pleased with Boss Xie. The last few days, he has been hunting in the forest, and his level has been upgraded to level 13, gaining 15 points of free attributes. He evenly distributed these attributes, adding 5 points each to his physique, spirit, and energy. As he continued to hunt in the forest these past few days, he gradually adapted to life in the forest. During the day, it's just killing, killing, killing. Find a tree hole to hide at night, and take turns keeping watch with the little spider. Speaking of the little spider, it has changed a lot these days. First of all, it is darker. Its whole body is black, even with a black light. Secondly, it has become slimmer. It has grown to about 2 meters, but its body has become slender and less bulky. In the past few days, Wang Meng has used Holy Spirit on it twice, further improving its potential and adding 2 more skills. Unfortunately, although Holy Enchantment has no cooling time, it requires a lot of purple materials and gold coins every time it is used. And now, he has no money. Look at the little spider in front of you. Don't look at its small size, it is only in its infancy, but its strength is already quite terrifying. I'm afraid even an elite blue crab wouldn't be its opponent. Of course, seeing that Boss Xie has become a single dog recently, Wang Meng reluctantly enchanted him once to increase his garbage potential. If Boss Xie were to return to the beach now, he would probably be a genius among blue crabs, definitely a young talent. The evolved Boss Xie has also undergone great changes. It has grown to 5 meters tall, its carapace has become harder, and it can shoot water bombs from its mouth like an elite blue crab. Although when Wang Meng was fighting, it would just stand by and shout 666. But Boss Xia's usual role is very important. Not only did it have 2 spiritual trees hanging on its left and right sides, but it also carried a large wooden box on its back. Seen from a distance, Mr. Xie looks a bit like a low-end Kowloon carrying a coffin. Anyway, it already looks like a mount. Normally, Wang Meng was tired and didn't want to walk, so he rested in the big box and let the little spider go hunting outside. Unable to find a tree hole to sleep at night, he used the box as a bed and slept in the box. After finishing the last bite of barbecue, Wang Meng dusted himself off. It was getting late, and it was time for him to find a place to rest. Soon, the group of people slowly walked down the tree roots. In this forest, the middle level has the most monsters, but it is also the most dangerous. The further you go to the bottom, the smaller the monsters become and their strength is average. However, these low-level monsters can always encounter some weird ones. For example, some are like bed bugs and can fart, and the farts they spray out can definitely stink people to death. For example, some are very ugly and exude a rotten stench, which makes people completely lose their appetite. There are also some that are very well hidden, like wearing chameleons, blending in with the surrounding environment and making them difficult to spot. But these are not problems. After being possessed by Holy Spirit, the little spider awakened 2 more abilities, namely Spider Sense and Black Silk Field. This makes its perception very terrifying. I saw a black spider silk shoot out suddenly, and a big insect hidden on the tree trunk in front of me was cut in half, and it died instantly. Wang Meng looked at the big insect in front of him, his eyes lit up, and he jumped out of the wooden box in an instant. The corpse of this insect is a good thing. After decomposition, its coat is like a chameleon, which can blend into the surrounding environment, making it perfect for making ghillie suits. After decomposing the insect's body, Wang Meng was preparing to continue looking for a tree hole. Suddenly, the whole forest seemed to be shaking. Wang Meng turned around suddenly and saw a huge figure 100 meters high in the distance. It's the 100-meter-tall black giant ape. It was running very fast, and every time it jumped, it was hundreds of meters high. Wherever he passed, all the giant trees collapsed one after another, and monsters of all sizes fled in all directions. Different from the majestic and domineering appearance when fighting the golden pangolin, the black giant ape was running away like crazy at this time. Its face was full of fear, as if there was some huge terror chasing behind it. Wang Meng watched the black giant ape getting closer and closer, and the hairs all over his body exploded. Although his strength is already very strong, he is still just a level 13 rookie after all. This kind of super boss is not something he can face now. Thank you, boss, run to the left, the only way to get away from it. Wang Meng roared, and Boss Xie was already prepared. The 8 legs were waving rapidly, and they were shuttled up and down the tree roots in the forest at a very fast speed. After running very far, Boss Xie slowed down. Wang Meng stood on Boss Xie's back, looking at the black giant ape that had disappeared in the distance, his face solemn. What is it that makes this super monster so scared? As he stared, a huge mouth burst out from the ground in the distance. Countless sharp and densely packed fangs, and a throat as dark as an abyss. In this throat, there are countless sharp and small teeth, layer by layer, constantly opening and closing. With just one mouthful, a giant tree hundreds of meters high was swallowed whole, exploding into countless debris. Seeing this scene, Wang Meng was stunned and broke out in cold sweat. This is just a mouth, which is hundreds of meters long. So how big should the whole body of this monster be? Soon, the owner of this giant mouth went deep underground and disappeared. It continued to chase in the direction of the black giant ape. At this time, the little spider was hiding in Wang Meng's arms and shivering. It had only been born a few days ago. How had it ever seen such a big scene? It had been frightened for a long time. On the contrary, Boss Xie is very courageous. Although its 8 legs were trembling, it was still strong and kept running on the tree roots, leading Wang Meng to escape. After running far away, Wang Meng suddenly came back to his senses and began to breathe heavily. His backside was soaked. These super beasts are not only huge in size, but there seems to be a special field around their bodies, just like the domineering characters in the novel. Under the influence of this field, weak creatures are unable to put up any resistance at all. It seems that these super giant beasts are not just huge in size. Wang Meng's eyes were solemn. He looked at the forest in the distance that was cut open like a cake, and felt a lingering fear in his heart. Suddenly, the little spider in his arms moved, conveying an urgent thought. Are there enemies? Thank you, boss, run. Wang Meng reacted very quickly and just yelled. But it was still a step too late. From under the tree roots, several thick canes suddenly shot out, tying up Boss Xie. A super piranha flower appeared behind them, and a huge shadow directly covered them all. The abyss opened its mouth wide and swallowed the 5-meter-tall Boss Xie into its belly with just one mouthful. Wang Meng turned back and his eyes widened. At some point, they actually escaped to the territory of a super piranha. The size of this piranha is very huge, exceeding 30 meters. Countless green vines swayed around it like snakes, the terrifying mouth opened, and green mucus dripped from the corners of his mouth, corroding the surrounding land. Because it is a plant-type monster, it is larger than ordinary monsters, and its territory is within 100 meters of it, and these vines are its tentacles. Its mouth kept opening and closing, and it swallowed Mr. Xie into its belly in 2 or 3 times. Seeing this scene, Wang Meng felt his blood pressure rise, straight to his forehead, and his eyes became red. Although Boss Xie is a scumbag, even though he makes others pregnant, even though he is timid and afraid of getting into trouble. But, how dare you? Who gave you the courage? Super possessed spirit, super possessed spirit, super possessed spirit, super possessed spirit. Super possession 10 times. All attributes are increased by 300%. Physical resistance is increased by 300%, elemental resistance is increased by 300%, toughness is increased by 300%, and mental resistance is increased by 300%. Recovers 10% of maximum physical strength every second, and recovers 10% of maximum energy every second. Intermediate muscle strengthening, intermediate muscle strengthening, intermediate muscle strengthening. Intermediate muscle strengthening 40 times, muscle strengthening increased by 1,600%. Transformation completed. Wang Meng's ordinary muscle liberation state. Red King Kong. Call. He exhaled a breath of white air. A whirlwind blew up in front of him instantly. His muscles grew bigger again. His size has grown to an exaggerated 5 meters. Huge chest muscles, inhuman shoulder width, and terrifying muscular arms make him look like a perverted version of Donkey Kong. Although under the Super Piranha's huge body of 30 meters, he is like a miniature doll. But in the eyes of the piranha, Wang Meng's figure had grown infinitely, and the aura of a superior predator was pressing down on him crazily. Their roles have been reversed. Now, it is the trembling one. Facing Wang Meng's muscular release state, Piranha's body had begun to tremble crazily. The vines that were showing off before were all lying on the ground, like a group of dead snakes. The Super Piranha suddenly opened its mouth and began to retching desperately, spitting out Boss Xie in an instant. But at this time, Boss Xie had turned into a pile of vomit, and his previous figure could no longer be seen. The Super Piranha jumped down in fear. If it had legs now, it would have run away long ago. But there is no such thing as if in this world. Collapse. With a loud noise, the entire body of the piranha was blown apart. Moreover, this punch used the secret technique of ancient Chinese martial arts, and the force went straight through the whole body, even breaking all the vines. Ding! Leap level, kill the Sun Piranha, gain 12,310 experience points, and get a random purple treasure box. Ding! Decompose and obtain 21 parts of purple sunflower essence, and 106 parts of blue sunflower vines. The huge body of the Super Piranha turned into a point of light and slowly disappeared. Wang Meng's figure also slowly shrank, turning back into the ordinary boy. Take the purple treasure chest back to the space backpack. Wang Meng sadly walked to the vomiting ball and crawled to the ground. My little tree, my wooden box. They are all gone. He didn't know how many boxes he opened before opening these two spiritual trees, and it took them a long time to plant them before they started to bear fruit. Even though he was traveling far away, he was reluctant to chop it down, but he didn't expect that he would be swallowed by this piranha today. What the? And I have been making this wooden box for a long time, and it is all my own hard work. After being sad for a long time, Wang Meng finally found 2 seeds from the disgusting vomit. Okay, the seeds are still there. Carefully put the seeds away. Wang Meng waved his hand, and the space in front of him began to twist. Soon, Boss Xie crawled out humbly. At this time, it looked confused. Wasn't it eaten just now? Why did it feel like it had just woken up? However, Wang Meng was not surprised. This was the effect of his professional skill, Space Summoning House. Space Summoning House. The possessed summoner can create a space summoning house for his summoned beast. After successful production, the summoned beast will be bound to the summoning house, will automatically return after death, and refresh the cooldown time. The cooldown time of this skill is very long, but it has its own inherent talent. Without cold superposition, it can basically achieve unlimited resurrection summons. However, a certain amount of energy needs to be consumed each time it is summoned. I have already made a space summoning house for Boss Xie before, so unless I die, Boss Xie will never be killed. Oh, it just consumes too much energy. A resurrection summon costs 200 energy points. And Boss Xie is just a weakling now. He may become stronger in the future, and it will cost more energy to revive him. I sighed. As expected, there is no invincible ability in this world, and energy restriction should be my biggest weakness. And it was precisely because of energy that he chose this profession. The third professional skill of possession, fusion, and summoned beast superpossession is one of the very few skills among all professions that can restore the upper limit of energy percentage. As long as your own energy value reaches a certain limit, at the same time, the superpossessed spirit will be superimposed to a certain number of layers. Then his energy recovery speed will exceed the consumption speed, and in the end he will be an infinite Matryoshka. By then, he no longer has to worry about energy issues. Moreover, super-possessed spirits can be used not only on oneself, but also on one's own summoned beasts, but the latter's benefits are too low. I looked at the sky and saw that it was going to be dark soon. Wang Meng jumped on Boss Xia's back, and the group started looking for a safe place to spend the night again. Soon, night came and the sky was filled with stars. In a dry tree hole, Wang Meng lit an oil lamp. The entrance to the tree hole has been sealed with leaves, blocking the light. Boss Xie was sleeping at the door, like a big stone. Wang Meng took out the purple treasure chest that the piranha exploded during the day from his space backpack and rubbed his hands. As his strength becomes stronger and stronger, the purple treasure chest becomes easier to obtain. But he still gets extremely excited every time he opens the treasure chest. The treasure chest opened, a flash of light flashed, and several items appeared in front of him. Ding! Get the rare item sunflower. Item, sunflower. Type, strange object. Quality, general grade. Introduction, a message from the Sunflower Clan in the Land of Forests, with the obsession of the Sunflower Clan. Rule effect, facing the sun. When the flower heart faces the sun, one sun seed can be generated every hour. Sun seeds can accelerate the growth of plants and add an annual ring to any plant. Note: rare objects are rule items, and only high-level rare objects can restrain the effects of rare object rules. Evaluation, 3.5 stars. Ding! A third-level experience book. Type, experience book. Quality, purple rare. Effect, after use, you will instantly gain 10,000 experience points. Evaluation, 3 stars. Ding! Get 18 copies of the purple quality mineral fire crystal. Ding! Get a purple quality nightshade seed. Seed, solanum seed. Quality, purple rare. Effect, nightshade flowers can grow when planted. After the flowers bloom, they can produce 3 to 5 drops of ambergris per cycle. Taking ambergris can permanently increase your physical fitness. The more you take, the higher your physical fitness, and the weaker the effect of increasing your physical fitness. After the plant dies, it will turn back into seeds and can be planted again. The flesh and blood of monster corpses can accelerate growth and secretion speed. Evaluation, 3.5 stars. Looking at all the items in front of him, Wang Meng picked up the sunflower first. This sunflower is crystal clear, only the size of a palm, like crystal. In the middle of the flower center, there is a small face, sleeping with its eyes closed. This was the first time he had seen an item of this special quality. Rare item, rule item. He carefully put the sunflower into his space backpack, and then picked up the seeds of the nightshade flower. This is his only seed that currently has purple quality, and it can also permanently increase basic attributes. This is simply a rare treasure. Picking up the seeds happily, he quickly took out an oyster shell and planted the seeds in it. After using the exploding experience book and throwing all the remaining items into the space backpack, and eating a delicious barbecue, he began to practice ancient Chinese martial arts on a daily basis. Punch, punch, punch. Wang Meng's eyes were firm and he was full of faith. I want to keep getting stronger, and then improve the world level, and go home early. My future girlfriend is still waiting for me. Hey, ha. Kill monsters, punch and level up. Ding, level up to LV14 and gain 5 points of free attributes. Kill monsters, punch and level up. Ding, level up to LV15 and gain 5 points of free attributes. Kill monsters, punch and level up. Ding, level up to LV16 and gain 5 points of free attributes. Just when Wang Meng was upgrading like crazy. Blue Star. A certain 18th tier town. People were all panicking and running away like crazy. Run, the monster is coming. You don't want your life. Now you want to go back and shoot the video. Where's the army? Where's the Chinese army? Isn't there a team of superpowers? Why aren't you here yet? In the distance, a 10-meter elite blue crab is crawling towards it at a fast speed. It's like a supergiant tank, running rampant. Cars were crushed and houses were damaged. A few unlucky ones ran too slowly and were swallowed up one by one in an instant. From the horizon, several helicopters quickly arrived and began to fire at it with heavy machine guns, but unfortunately it had little effect. Its carapace is so hard. Behind the elite blue crab, more than a dozen tanks hurriedly rushed in, with constant artillery fire. Although the tank can cause injuries to it, under the influence of the rules of the game, these injuries will quickly recover as before. The elite blue crab was attracted by these gunfires, roared angrily, and quickly crawled towards the tank group. I clamp, clamp, clamp. It was just a charge, and the 3 tanks were transformed by him like toys. Call the Esper team for support. A 10-meter level monster was found here that broke through the encirclement. It is a crustacean. Its defense is too strong and our firepower is not enough to contain it. Please support, please support. Copy that, the super team will be here soon. Please evacuate quickly. The missile has been launched. Please evacuate quickly. After receiving the news, all the soldiers began to retreat quickly. Soon, a long line was drawn in the sky. A long-range tracking missile rushed towards the elite blue crab. Collapse. After a loud noise, a small mushroom cloud exploded on the ground. The 10-meter giant was instantly blown to pieces. But the rules of the game cannot be broken. This method can only contain the blue crab for a period of time. After a few breaths, the broken body began to slowly shrink and recover quickly. At this time, more than a dozen tanks had formed a circle and started shooting wildly at the broken body of the blue crab. You must not resurrect it, because after resurrection, the speed of this crab is too fast, and it is difficult for tanks to hit it again. In the distance, a few residents who were not afraid of death were still hiding in high places and filming videos. It's awesome. This is more enjoyable than watching a blockbuster film about the beautiful country. Isn't this big crab too powerful? A dozen tanks can't suppress it. It would be great if I could have a pet like this. And this scene is happening all over the country at the same time. The black restricted area is just a passage. Humans can go to other worlds, and monsters from other worlds can also come to Blue Star. Recent. One after another, giant monsters came out of the black restricted area, but most of them were blocked by the Chinese army. However, a small number of giants escaped the encirclement and came to human cities. This elite blue crab is one of them. Compared with the previous monsters, this 10-meter giant is really terrifying. Due to its huge size and speed, it is almost difficult to contain. And if you want to kill him, you must send out a team of China's top super players. Or it would be possible to kill it by gathering hundreds of players to attack at the same time. With the continuous firing of tank artillery, all the Chinese soldiers were already breaking out in cold sweat. Their ammunition is about to be exhausted. If the super player team does not support them, all of them may die here. Just when they were worried, more than a dozen helicopters quickly flew into the sky. Hundreds of players landed from the sky and rushed here quickly. Led by Zhang Xiaolong, all the players drew their weapons. Swords, guns, crossbows, and even magic wands. The sci-fi war scene just now suddenly changed, and a group of people rushed forward with cold weapons. The tank's human shield comes forward and restrains its clamp. The remote output is at the back, and when you find an opportunity, output it, don't accidentally hurt your teammates. The assassin sneak attacks on its weak points and explodes its anus. After fighting for more than half an hour, a group of people finally killed this elite blue crab to the ground. Everyone was lying on the ground exhausted, panting. Zhang Xiaolong looked at everyone in front of him, his face full of relief. Everyone became stronger again. They can kill even this 10-meter monster. Too strong. Bureau 826 Secret Base. Li Yong looked at all the reports in front of him. His brows were furrowed deeply. In recent days, monsters have been breaking through the black restricted area and starting to wreak havoc in the city. Human cities seem to have a fatal attraction for monsters like them. In just a few days, tens of thousands of people were killed and injured. Those 3 to 4 meter level monsters are easy to deal with, and ordinary soldiers can contain them. But those giant objects that exceed 10 meters are basically difficult to contain. Especially those big crabs, which have thick carapace all over their bodies, and ordinary thermal weapons are basically useless against them. Only heavy thermal weapons can cause effective damage to them. But those heavy weapons are expensive. A long-range missile costs tens of millions, and even if used, it can only contain these monsters for more than 10 seconds. Therefore, orders have been issued from above to start vigorously cultivating players. This year, 4 martial arts college entrance examinations will be held across the country. Anyone over 16 years old, regardless of gender or occupation, can participate. At the same time, more than half of the hundreds of thousands of people selected previously have become players. Li Yong opened the drawer and took out another report. This report is about Project Zero, and all the recent information recorded in it is Bai Yan's. Bai Yan's psychological problems are very serious. She has grown up in a greenhouse since she was a child and has never suffered any setbacks. But at the age of 16, a fire destroyed her life. 6 months after the fire, her father could not bear the huge debt, so he abandoned the mother and son and committed suicide by jumping into the river. Her mother also became depressed and furious under tremendous pressure, and vented all her anger on Bai Yan. Under multiple blows, Bai Yan developed serious psychological problems. She became sensitive and inferior, careful and cautious, and did not dare to contact any strangers. She is afraid of being a burden to others, afraid of hurting everyone, and even dare not look into the eyes of strangers. Li Yong took the report and rubbed his temples with a headache. But fate is such a coincidence. Such a girl has become the core figure of Project Zero. She must go against her heart and keep killing monsters. Because her ability is linked to energy, if the energy is insufficient, she may not be able to summon Zero back. The constant killings also caused Bai Yan's psychological problems to become more serious. Well, sighing, he didn't want to embarrass a girl with a tragic life experience. But as a soldier, he must do this. More than 1 billion people in China are in dire straits, and even humanity may perish at any time. And number 0 is an important clue that they must seize. Sacrifice is inevitable. He is willing to carry these sins and move forward, no matter what. Picking up the phone, he dialed Principal Chen's number. Old Chen, I have sent some of the top psychologists in the country to go there, and we will continue after Bai Yan's condition gets better. We have obtained 5 pieces of purple materials, and we should be able to see Zero again soon. Bai Yan's upgrade cannot be stopped. Quote, Desert Island. In the forest, a 20-meter behemoth slowly fell under Wang Mang. He put away the blue treasure box in front of him, decomposed the body into materials, and then took out a big cucumber from his space backpack and gnawed it. In the past, when he encountered this elite-level big-mouthed frog, he had to use full combat power and be careful about sneak attacks. But now, I accidentally beat it to death, and I had to hold back a little bit, otherwise the blood would be everywhere and the clothes would be stained, which would be unsightly. With a slight leap, Wang Mang jumped onto Boss Xia's back. Recently, Boss Xie has grown up again. His height has exceeded 8 meters and he has become more powerful and domineering. The little spider also grew faster. It was already 2 meters tall and could no longer reach Wang Mang's arms. Seeing that it probably wouldn't turn into a spider girl, Wang Mang directly named it Haibao. There should be enough materials. If we sell them to the store, we should be able to collect another 200,000 gold coins. He has been hunting recently. Except for materials of purple quality and above and some special blue quality materials, he sold all other garbage to the store and exchanged it for gold coins. Today, he finally collected enough 200,000 yuan to use Holy Spirit enchantment twice more. After looking at Boss Xie who was blowing bubbles next to him, Wang Mang hesitated and used it once. The last time I encountered a piranha, its performance was so bad that it was eaten as a snack by others in one bite. What a shame. With the use of Holy Spirit, Mr. Xie felt comfortable all over, and he was so happy. After using it, Boss Xie actually started to shed his shell. An hour passed before Boss Xie finally exited his shell, and his appearance changed a lot. The first is its pair of pliers, which become like metal. Every time they are pinched, there is a crisp impact sound. At the same time, the pairs of thorns on its head also became larger and extremely sharp. There are many black lines on its carapace. I don't know what they have. That's right, Boss Xie, you seem to be a little more handsome. Satisfied, he patted Boss Xia's big pliers, and then he used Holy Spirit on the little spider again. However, the little spider has not changed much. If I have to say it, it has become darker. Hey Bao, are you okay? I still expected you to turn into a spider girl, why are you getting darker and darker? The little spider lowered his head, looking at him innocently with his 8 black eyes, and screamed in grievance. Ying ying, ying ying. Hearing Xiao Haizi's answer, Wang Mang shook his head in disappointment, then jumped on Boss Xia's back and lay down in the wooden box. The box was cushioned with various soft furs, and 3 oyster shells were fixed next to it. 2 small trees and a black and red nightshade flower were full of life. As Mr. Crab gets bigger and bigger, the big wooden box on his back has become the size of a room, and even has a skylight open. Wang Mang usually rests there. And as he becomes stronger and stronger, many places in the forest are no longer dangerous to him. In addition to those 100-meter level super monsters, many 30-meter and 40-meter monsters have become his hunting targets. And recently, he discovered another big monster in the forest to the north. A super monster close to 50 meters. To be honest, he wanted to try it. Players are not online, and it is so boring to be on a deserted island, with no one to talk to. And as time goes by, this desert island's mental pollution continues to deepen. He would always suddenly start to feel depressed for no reason. He even had a dream where he hugged Mr. Shia's thigh and called his mother. This was simply unbearable for him. Although he has recently been upgraded with a lot of mental attributes. Although watching mobile phones and doing exercises will relieve his mood. Although using super possession can increase his mental resistance. But these are just suppression and do not solve the fundamental problem. He now urgently needs to fight to be released. In extreme battles, he can always feel his blood boiling and his body singing, and those low emotions will be swept away. Especially after killing these giant beasts, he can always feel the thrill of conquest. That feeling could make him climax every time. Wang Meng stood up suddenly and looked up to the north, his eyes full of fighting intent. Recently, he has done a lot of inspection around the area, and the preliminary preparations have been extremely thorough. A 50-meter super beast. It was an existence that he couldn't even think about before. But now, I am preparing to hunt it. What would it be like if this terrifying behemoth were trampled underfoot? Wang Meng's eyes were burning, he was looking forward to it very much. But, he had been hunting all day today and was a little tired both physically and mentally. Moreover, it was getting late, so he had to recharge his batteries and reach the peak of perfection before he could start hunting. Dinner, martial arts practice, sleep. The next day. Just after dawn, Wang Meng hid a few spiritual plants, put on all his equipment, and rushed towards the northern forest alone. Both Boss Xie and Xiao Haitzi were taken into the pet house by him. Because of this level of fighting, they can't help right now. Staying in the pet house as 2 big magic bottles is their best choice. Wang Meng walked forward, constantly jumping among the branches. Soon, a super giant tree appeared in front of him. This tree is very big, at least 500 meters high. The entire tree crown blocks the sky and the sun, like a big umbrella blocking the sun. Around this giant tree, you can see many giant snakes. These giant snakes range from dozens of meters long to over 100 meters long. Although these snakes are very long, they are actually equivalent to 10 to 30 meter monsters. Under the 500-meter supergiant tree, there are giant snakes hanging everywhere. They are layered on top of each other, entangled like twists, and are having a party. Under the big tree, a supergiant snake was coiled, with its head standing high, several times larger than the original piranha. As Wang Meng becomes stronger and stronger, he can always feel the power of monsters recently. The larger the monster, the stronger its momentum. Of course, there are exceptions, such as rare monsters like the black crystal spider, whose power far exceeds that of monsters of the same size. The momentum of the big snake in front of him has reached at least 50 meters and is about to condense into substance. Looking from a distance, a thin layer of black mist surrounds its body, appearing and disappearing. This is a level Wang Meng has never hunted before. Just looking at it from a distance, the terrifying momentum makes people tremble involuntarily. But, that's what it feels like. It was this exciting feeling that excited Wang Meng's depressed mood. He took out more than a dozen items from his space backpack, all of which were treasures that could restore energy. After eating all the treasures in one bite, Wang Meng began to talk to himself excitedly. Super possessed spirit, super possessed spirit, super possessed spirit, super possessed spirit. With each shout, a white light will light up on his body, and his body will increase in all directions. His strength has become stronger, his perception has become sharper, his body is as indestructible as steel, and his spirit has never been as clear as it is today. Although his body shape has not changed at all, the momentum on his body is like a candle in the dark, burning brightly. The big snake under the giant tree suddenly turned its head, its cold eyes fixed on the direction of Wang Meng. There is a small bug there, but it is very strong. Long snake letters spit out from its mouth, and it is feeling the pheromones in the air. This was not its illusion, it really felt a trace of threat from that little insect. One snake and one person looked at each other, observing each other carefully. Wang Meng raised his head and suddenly grinned. The fun has just begun. Intermediate muscle strengthening, intermediate muscle strengthening, intermediate muscle strengthening. Among the tree trunks, all the muscles in Wang Meng's small body seemed to be alive and began to bulge and swell. Soon, He turned into an 8-meter-tall super-muscular giant. Intermediate muscle strengthening is 120 times, and the muscle strengthening rate is increased by 4,800%. This is Wang Meng's strongest complete form at this time, heartbeat engine muscle dad form. The heart was beating so fast that the air began to vibrate. With each shaking, all the trees and the ground within 100 meters began to vibrate rhythmically. He has broad shoulders like a super dad, and his whole body is muscled, well-proportioned and natural, without any sense of bloat. His head is a little small, but his fists are huge. Demon's infinite six-armed Buddha. Wang Meng clenched a fist with one hand, feeling the terrifying power bursting out of his body. He gave a light punch. Boom! A terrifying fist wind swept across. There was a loud noise, and the 100-meter-long tree as thick as a building was broken from it, and sawdust exploded. The terrifying fist wind broke through hundreds of meters away, opening a hole in the forest. This exaggerated strange power is simply unbelievable. At this time, the big snake in the distance has already arched its body, and its tail is constantly twisting, making it bigger. The cold eyes suddenly opened wide, and the pupils kept shrinking. What's going on with this little bug? If it was just the slightest threat just now it just feels like it is facing its own natural enemy. The big snake already felt that its heartbeat was accelerating, and it had to do something. Its mouth continued to expand, and a huge pillar of fire shot out. This pillar of fire was so powerful that all the trees it passed were turned into charcoal. This terrifying blow directly raised Wang Meng's position to the ground, sending a sea of fire into the sky. But the big snake was not happy at all. It raised its head and looked around nervously. This terrible little bug was not dead yet. Really, on the right, trees collapsed one after another, as if something huge was approaching. The big snake opened its mouth again. Unfortunately, this time, Wang Meng would not give it another chance. Collapse. There was a loud noise, and a large crater with a diameter of dozens of meters suddenly sank in the forest. Wang Meng's figure was like a missile, and he rushed over so fast that there was only an afterimage left. He kept adjusting his body shape in midair, so that he was facing the abyss's open mouth of the big snake. At the same time, he took a sharp breath, causing the entire chest to expand several times again. The secret skill of ancient Chinese martial arts, Buddhist devil suppressing lion's roar. Roar! The terrifying sound waves struck, causing ripples in the air. Wang Meng's basic attributes at this time had already been superimposed dozens of times, and the 4,800% muscle increase made his chest, abdomen and oral muscles super strengthened. Under such inhuman physical fitness, the ancient martial arts secret skills used to have undergone an absolute qualitative change. All the giant snakes within thousands of meters were killed by the terrifying sound waves, and those that were close enough had even exploded into a bloody mist. The big snake that was just about to spit out a pillar of fire was severely injured in an instant, with a large amount of blood flowing out of its eyes and mouth. However, around its body, there is an invisible force that wraps it up layer by layer, weakening the damage of the sound waves. Wang Meng looked at the big snake in front of him, and his mouth slowly opened. He is even more excited. You actually blocked my blow, that's amazing. Hehehehe. Wang Meng laughed loudly, his eyes full of crazy excitement. He has long been tired of killing those rubbish every day. A monster of this level is your opponent. It's so exciting. Before he could finish laughing, a giant tail with a diameter of more than 10 meters fell from the sky and knocked him away like a baseball. This blow directly sent him flying hundreds of meters away, smashing a 10-meter deep pit into the forest in the distance. Moment. Wang Meng flew out of the pit again without any injuries. He twisted his neck, which was full of muscles. Wang Meng looked up to the sky and roared. Cool. Originally in the state of muscle strengthening, his ability to resist blows became very powerful. The super-possessed spirit's superimposition increased all his resistance by dozens of times again. With such terrifying defense power, the attack just now was just tickling him. Collapse. A large crater with a diameter of dozens of meters appeared on the ground again, and Wang Meng disappeared instantly. He kept moving around the big snake, almost turning into a red line, and his speed was dizzying. Orochi, let me show you my ultimate romance. It's your honor to die under this trick. Wang Meng laughed ferociously, jumped suddenly, and teleported to the top of the big snake's head. His whole body was arched, his hands were put under his abdomen, and his energy and blood exploded crazily. Secret skills of ancient Chinese martial arts. Buddhism conquering demons. Infinite six-armed Buddha. Punch, punch, punch. Countless fist shadows were punched out crazily. Because his punching speed was so fast, from a distance, Wang Meng seemed to have turned into a red six-armed Vajra Buddha. Every punch he makes will be blocked by the force of the snake, weakening most of the punch's power. But it doesn't matter, this move of infinite six-armed Buddha is originally a set of attack speed boxing skills. If one punch doesn't work, use 100 punches, if 100 punches don't work, use 1,000 punches. A drop of water penetrates a stone. A miracle happens with great force. It's great, it's great, it's great, come again, come again, come again. 1 minute later, Wang Meng squatted on the ground panting. There was only a deep pit with a diameter of 100 meters in front of him. The entire snake head had already been blown apart by him, leaving only a headless body. On the corpse of the big snake, a purple treasure box floated quietly in the air, overflowing with treasure. After putting away the treasure box, he squatted and leapt, instantly flying hundreds of meters into the air and landing on the top of the 500-meter giant tree. Look down. The scenery of the forest is unobstructed. His exaggerated muscular body slowly shrank and turned back into that boy again. A breeze blew by, making the leaves rustle. The scenery at the top of the tree is nothing more than that. Giant tree, juvenile, headless snake corpse under the tree. It forms a beautiful picture. Time flies, time flies. 1 month later. Blue star, where's the remote output? Shoot quickly. Follow the mage and look for opportunities. I've got it under control, hurry up and deal it. No way. Nurse, nurse me quickly. I'm going to die. This thrilling battle lasted for half an hour. Finally, the 4-meter blue crab slowly fell to the ground. Zhang Shang and his teammates looked at the dead blue crab. Everyone fell to the ground exhausted, their faces filled with joy. Captain, hurry up, take a picture of us. All the team members gathered around. They stood in front of the blue crab corpse and posed in various poses, hoping to take a handsome photo. Zhang Shang shook his head helplessly and took a group photo with everyone. Since the open beta of the game more than a month ago, the spiritual recovery has officially begun. Awakened people begin to appear one after another across the country, and ordinary people can also become players through the black restricted area and embark on the path to transcendence. And Zhang Shang, who was once timid and cowardly, with mediocre supernatural talents, has grown into the captain of the super team. Even today, he led his team to independently hunt blue crabs for the first time. They finally became a qualified super player. Looking at the blue crab in front of him, Zhang Shang suddenly thought of someone. After the open beta of the game, that kid didn't seem to come back. Now I don't know if he is still alive. Alas. Zhang Shang looked at the star-tooth ring in his hand and sighed. If a person survives alone on a deserted island full of monsters, he won't be able to survive for long. Just as Zhang Shang shook his head, his satellite phone suddenly rang. Call, Team 109 of the 7th Restricted Area, please return to the headquarters for support. Please return to the headquarters for support. A super monster that has never been seen before has appeared in the 7th Restricted Area, please support. Zhang Shang was stunned, and quickly gathered all the team members, disintegrated the bodies, and headed straight to the headquarters in a helicopter. 2 hours later, the helicopter landed slowly, but Zhang Shang and others stood on the tarmac, frowning. Only a distance is seen. The artillery fire continued, and more than a dozen fighter jets circled at high altitude and fired continuously. On the ground, hundreds of tanks formed a position and were shooting wildly. In the middle, a giant creature about 20 meters tall was constantly breaking through. Soon, someone came over and took Zhang Shang and others to an open space. In this open space, thousands of players have gathered. And he also saw many familiar faces. Zhang Xiaolong, the most dazzling rising star of Xuanzhen University of Superpowers, is also his senior. It is said that although his talent is only 3 stars, his actual combat potential is extremely strong, and his martial arts talent is very high, making him a rare martial arts genius. Chong Wei, the only 5-star talent in Xuanwu University, is said to have reached level 7, making him the highest level person in Xuanzhen University. Xiao is the strongest long-range output player in Xuanshan High School. His 4-star talent is related to bows and arrows. He can seriously injure a blue crab with one arrow. He is very powerful. But even looking at such a luxurious lineup, Zhongxiang still didn't have any confidence in his heart. He looked back at the terrifying beast in the distance. Can this thing really kill people? Even if 1,000 of them came together, I'm afraid they would just be delivering food. Just when he was worried, Principal Chen had already rushed over. Dear classmates, everyone is almost here, so I will start talking directly. You have also seen the situation. A super beast appeared in the black restricted area. Although we have suppressed it with artillery fire, we cannot kill it at all. Moreover, this kind of body type cannot be contained at present. Quote. This time, I'll leave it to you all. Principal Chen solemnly took off his glasses and gave a solemn military salute to everyone in front of him. However, not everyone appreciated it, at least more than 20% of people chose to withdraw. Principal Chen, I'm sorry. I still have a wife and children at home, I can't just die here. Principal Chen watched them leave without saying anything. After taking a look at the people who stayed behind, Principal Chen pushed up his glasses and smiled with satisfaction. Everyone, get ready, we will set off immediately. The engineering team has dug a huge trap in front. Once the artillery fire stops, you will find a way to lure it into the trap. Soon, all the players started heading to the battlefield in pickup trucks. As it got closer and closer, Zhongxiang felt that the monster in front of him became even bigger. Look up, a huge body over 20 meters tall, thick and well-developed super giant legs, and a terrifying mouth with bloody fangs. This 20-meter elite monster giant mouth frog is a terrifying giant that Zhongxiang has never faced before. Can these players really kill this kind of monster? At the same time, 20-meter level super monsters have also begun to appear in copies of black restricted areas around the world. Bureau 826 Secret Base. Li Yong was sitting in the office of the command room as usual. He picked up the report of Project Zero, and 8 copies of the purple material had been collected. Come on, they will meet Player Zero soon. He looked at Bai Yan's data report again and found that Bai Yan had reached level 8, becoming the highest level player in Huasha Kingdom. Recently, players across the country have killed some elite monsters, and many experience books have been opened in the white treasure chests that exploded. Most of these experience books were assigned to Bai Yan from above to help her improve her level. But she still has to kill monsters, this is something she has to face as a player. Just as he was thinking, there was a knock on the office door. A clerk rushed in hurriedly. Director, it's not good. There was a problem in the black restricted area No. 13. A super monster broke through the encirclement and was about to enter the city. Quote. Hearing the news, Li Yong stood up fiercely. Something bad is happening. Longhai City, the second-tier city along the coast of China, has a permanent population of more than 2 million. More than a month ago, a black restricted area suddenly appeared dozens of kilometers away from Longhai City. When the black restricted zone first appeared, millions of people in Longhai City fled immediately, leaving no homes behind. As a result, the global spiritual energy recovered the next day, and Longhai City instantly became the city with the most abundant spiritual energy in the country because it was the closest to the black restricted zone. And since the open beta of the game, almost no monsters have escaped from the black restricted area. For a while everyone ran back again. Even within just a few days, housing prices in Longhai City began to skyrocket. Because some statistics found that the frequency of awakened people in Longhai City is almost the highest in China. This month, people all over the city are popping champagne to celebrate, but they don't know that the danger has already been laid. At this time, a 20-meter large-mouthed frog jumped and jumped, approaching Longhai City. Every time it jumps, it travels hundreds of meters and is very fast. Dozens of helicopters followed it, shooting continuously, but they could not stop its progress. The big-mouthed frog kept jumping forward, as if something was attracting it in Longhai City, making it eager to pass. Soon, the helicopter's ammunition was completely consumed, but the scars on the frog's body were restored to their original appearance within a few breaths. Sudden, a red line crossed the sky. An intercontinental missile flew directly and blew the big-mouthed frog into pieces in an instant. But after more than 10 seconds, the big mouth frog returned to its original state under the influence of the rules of the game and continued to jump towards Longhai City. Far away, in a mobile command room. No, we can't kill it at all. Where are the players? Why aren't the players coming? It's about to enter the city. There is also a 20-meter super monster in Area 13. Players may not be able to catch it in a short time. We must hold it back. If it really enters the city, the consequences will be disastrous. Everyone in the command room frowned. If this super monster enters urban areas, many heavy thermal weapons will be difficult to use. We can't let it enter the city. Let's notify it and let the infantry company in front go up and delay it with firepower. The tank unit will be here soon. Chapter 71. Soon the command room had to make a difficult decision. Just now, they used at least hundreds of long-range missiles to block these big-mouthed frogs, but the effect was not obvious. The helicopter troops have also run out of ammunition, and the tank troops cannot keep up with the speed of this big-mouthed frog. They had no choice but to let the infantry team guarding the front attack first. If you can delay it for 1 minute, just delay it for 1 minute. At least the citizens of Longhai City must be dragged away. Soon, thousands of infantry troops received orders. Military armored vehicles drove in the direction of the monster. Although they are the most elite warriors in China, they now have to face super monsters that can be infinitely resurrected. Their winning rate is 0, but even so, they keep moving forward. If you live and die for the benefit of the country, why should you avoid it because of misfortunes and blessings? These are the soldiers of the Washa Kingdom. Far away, the super monster big mouth frog stared at the group of little ants in front of him with his cold eyes. It grinned wide, with countless canines interlaced, as if it was laughing ferociously. Quack! It's time to open a table again. Desert Island. In the forest, Wang Meng squatted on Boss Xia's back, looking at the big-mouthed frog in front of him who was pretending to be dead, and was speechless. This guy's acting skills are really incredible. My stomach turns, my legs twitch, and I foam at the mouth. If it hadn't been so aggressive about eating him a second ago, Wang Meng might have been deceived by it. Hey, Big Toad, you can insult my body, but you can't insult my IQ. Punch, collapse, terrible wind pressure swept across. A big hole opened in the big-mouthed frog's belly, and he couldn't die anymore. Wang Meng shook his head, his mouth full of disdain. How many kilograms do you have? Don't you know how many tails you have? You dare to come in front of your arrogant master to try to get rid of me. I'm really tired of living. The corpse decomposed and turned into dots of white light and disappeared. Wang Meng was happy to bring up a blue treasure box. But now when he saw the blue treasure chest again, he was completely unfazed. He had already opened many of these, and most of them contained blue materials, with very few rare items such as equipment and blueprints. I don't know if it's because of past the novice stage, but it's been difficult to get anything good from the treasure chest recently. After Wang Meng packed up, he took out a red scimitar from his space backpack. This scimitar is red all over, and there are a few snake patterns on the blade. If you touch it gently with your hand, it will feel slightly warm like human skin. Equipment: explosive flame. Type: weapon. Quality: purple rare. Attributes: Constitution +20, Energy +100. Effect: Effect 1. Sharp Level 2. After wearing, the physical armor breaking effect is increased by 15%. Effect 2. Extreme Speed Level 2. Increase attack speed by 30% after wearing. Effect 3. Flame Slash. By consuming a certain amount of energy, a fire blade can be cut out. The damage of the fire blade is 284% of physical plus mental, and the cooldown time is 3 minutes. Rating: 3 stars. This purple quality explosive flame was the one that exploded from the big snake he killed last time. It is the only purple weapon he currently has. In addition to this weapon, the purple treasure box also contains some third-level experience books, blue quality seeds, and a blue quality bow and arrow production blueprint. This purple quality explosive scimitar has very strong attributes, but the skill it carries is an active casting skill. The effect is not bad, and it is very useful for killing mobs. Wang Meng held the explosive flame in his hand and strolled among the tree trunks in the forest. As he becomes stronger and stronger, there are fewer and fewer monsters in the forest that can threaten him. As he walked, he came to the territory of a group of monsters. He saw more than a dozen 10-meter spider monsters rushing towards him quickly. Wang Mang held the long sword in his hand without any panic. With a wave of his blade, a 10-meter-long fire blade flew out at extremely high speed. Before the spider monster in front of him could react, swish, brush, brush, more than a dozen huge fire blades flew out again, forming a dense web of fire in the sky, instantly killing more than a dozen spider monsters to the ground. Wang Mang touched the explosion with satisfaction. Although the skill of this weapon is not amplified, it is still quite handsome when used to defeat monsters. Because of his passive talent, the scimitar's skills have no cooldown. So as long as he has energy, he can expand his moves infinitely. Putting away the violent flames, he turned around and jumped on Boss Xia's back, lay down in the tub, and opened the chat group again. However, the chat group was still quiet. Since the open beta of the game more than a month ago, no players have come online. The forum also became quiet. Wang Mang is really the only human being left in the whole world. And in this more than a month, the mental pollution on the desert island has been deeply affecting Wang Mang. Although he is already very powerful, he even has several layers of super-possessed state superimposed on him all the time. But loneliness is like an abyss, trying to swallow him up all the time. I saw a chat group and my mood got worse again. Feeling the change in his mood, Wang Mang quickly took out his mobile phone from his space backpack, found a few videos of beautiful ladies, and relaxed for a while. Afterwards, he was in the shape of a big character, lying in the wooden box and looking at the sky. As he stayed on the desert island longer and longer, he felt more and more that loneliness was his biggest enemy. Although he only stayed on this desert island for a few months, he felt like several years had passed. This is not his imagination. He could feel that something was very wrong with this island. It seemed to confuse time and space and amplify people's inner loneliness. If he wants to return home alive, he must overcome this loneliness. In fact, he had had a premonition a long time ago, which was one of the reasons why he chose the profession of spirit summoner. If it hadn't been for Boss Xie and Xiao Haitzi along the way, he might have gone crazy. In addition to my own pets, the ladies on my mobile phone also helped a lot. It's a pity that most of Brother Zhang's collections are European and American, which is a bit perverted. He actually prefers watching Island Teacher and anime with plots. However, these methods only treat the symptoms but not the root cause and can only provide relief. What really allows him to completely release his pressure is the kind of battle that challenges his limits. Release your strongest form and then fight to the death with those super monsters. Only in that kind of battle can he feel the joy of body and mind, and his blood boils all over. This passion for fighting is the best medicine he can use to overcome loneliness. So recently he has been looking for various super monsters and constantly hunting them. Unfortunately, the explosion rate of purple treasure chests is very low. Until now, he had only exploded one when he hunted a 50-meter level snake for the first time. And in this high-intensity battle, his strength became stronger and stronger. His level has been raised to level 20, and he is becoming more and more proficient in the secret skills of ancient Chinese martial arts. In this forest, he no longer has to hide like before. In the past month, he has saved hundreds of thousands of gold coins, and used the sacred spirits several times on Boss Xie and Xiao Haitzi, greatly increasing their talent potential again. At this time, Boss Xie had grown to more than 10 meters and became very large. And Xiao Haitzi has also grown to 5 meters, and his strength is even more terrifying. Even in its juvenile stage, it can easily kill an elite large-mouthed frog. I believe that in the near future, the two of them will become his right-hand assistants. Wang Mang opened the panel again and looked at the latest prompt in the panel. Ding, the level has been raised to LV20. Please complete the world mission and raise the world level. After he reached level 20, this message popped up. The world mission is also very simple. Hunt 3 different types of 20-meter elite monsters alone. When he saw this mission, Wang Mang curled his lips. For such a simple task, wouldn't it be enough to just have hands? So he spent 2 hours to find 3 elite monsters, punch them one by one, and sent them to the west. And the big-mouthed frog just now is the third one. At this time, a message also pops up in the panel. Ding, the world mission has been completed. Do you want to upgrade the world level now? Wang Meng slowly placed his finger on the option. Originally, he should have pressed it directly, but at the last moment, he suddenly hesitated. He suddenly thought of the figure covered in black mosaics. Its weird smile always made him a little uneasy. A sudden invasion of the game world. Reward chests arranged in advance. A strange black mosaic figure suddenly appears. All this hinted to him that the appearance of players was not that simple. Wang Meng frowned, and his eyes suddenly became firm. There is nothing to hesitate about. He has already understood a truth after staying on this desert island for so long. In this world, the only one you can trust is yourself. The only thing he could rely on was his fist. As long as he continues to grow stronger, all conspiracies and schemes will be destroyed by him with one punch. He is Wang Meng. Anyone who dares to cheat on him will be rewarded tenfold and 100-fold. Fingers dropped. The whole world began to ripple. The invisible fluctuations centered on Wang Meng and quickly spread to all directions, covering the entire island in an instant and extending towards the sea. Everything seemed to have undergone some strange changes, but nothing seemed to have happened. And at the moment when Wang Meng rose to the world level, Blue Star, more than 80 black restricted zones around the world are all beginning to boil. The invisible black mist began to roll and quickly spread to all directions. They are devouring the land of Blue Star and eroding the world. The spread of the black zone continued for an hour. Soon, all the more than 80 black restricted areas around the world doubled in size. At this time, Bureau 826 Underground Secret Base. Li Yong and hundreds of staff from Bureau 826 were all staring nervously at the big screen in front of them. The 14 black restricted areas of China suddenly began to expand at the same time. This sudden change made everyone panic. Why did this change occur suddenly? What impact will the expansion of the black restricted area have on Blue Star? They knew nothing about all this. Li Yong stared at the screen closely. The expansion of the black restricted area was definitely not a good thing. All personnel listened to the order. From now on, all troops around the black restricted area will retreat and be ready for battle at any time. Call the diplomatic team over. Within 10 minutes, I will start a video conference with diplomats from the 7 major countries. Contact Principal Chen and inform him that we are ready to launch Project Zero at any time. I will collect the materials as soon as possible. Write a report, notify the Supreme Council, and prepare in advance to unlock nuclear weapons. As instructions were sent out one after another, Li Yong quickly came to the conference room, preparing to connect with diplomats from the 7 major countries. Today he must get the purple material from the 7 powers. He had a hunch that the changes in the black penalty area must be related to Player Zero. 3 days later, several planes came to China. Stephen came out of the airport, holding a delicate box tightly in his hand. Behind him, there were dozens of burly men in suits and glasses, all of them fierce, and kept away from strangers. Just a few days ago, the sudden changes in the black restricted area made the people above panic. And China suddenly contacted them. After a secret exchange with the people above, he came to China with a piece of purple material. As far as he knew, in addition to them, many big countries had come to China with purple materials. Although he did not believe that these changes had anything to do with Wang Guo, who made Wang Guo preach the revival of spiritual energy from the beginning. Therefore, the above unanimously believe that China must know some news that none of them know. Even in their beautiful country, there are only 5 copies of this rare quality purple material, so it is definitely a national treasure. He forcibly took this portion out of the laboratory. When he took it away, at least 100 old professors chased him out and threatened to blow his anus with guns. When he thinks about that scene now, he still feels frightened. These scientific researchers looked polite, but in fact they had very dark hearts. This time I thought I had offended them. Stephen didn't take a few steps when a smiling Chinese man with glasses came over and greeted him kindly. This man's name is Li Yong. He has heard about it for a long time, and he is also a sinister person. Li Yong stepped forward, took a look at the box, and said with a smile, "Major General Stephen, thank you for your trip." Stephen smiled and handed the box in his hand to Li Yong. "Li, it's just a small matter, no need to be polite. I'm curious, what do you want so much purple material for?" Li Yong pushed his eyes and gave a formal fake smile. The reflection of the lenses made it difficult to see his eyes clearly. Major General Stephen, this is not within the scope of our deal. I refused to answer. Haha, don't be so nervous, Li. I'm just curious. The things have been delivered, so I'll leave first. Some of my girlfriends are still waiting for me at home. After Stephen finished speaking, he took everyone out of the airport. Li Yong looked at them leaving, his eyes narrowed slightly. Spies from various countries have probably entered China, and they are probably trying to steal Player Zero's information. Tell me to go down and get my substitutes ready. My whereabouts in the past few days must not be known to anyone. After giving instructions to his confidants, he turned around and left the airport. 10 pieces of purple materials have been collected, and they are about to officially start Project Zero. Desert Island. In the forest, a young man was hunched over, carrying a boulder weighing several tons on his back. He gritted his teeth, his head covered with sweat, and moved forward step by step with heavy weight. This is Wang Meng's daily practice task recently. After walking for a long time, he felt that he was almost reaching the limit, so he exerted force with both hands and threw the boulder dozens of meters away. Recently, he has been either killing monsters to level up or practicing continuously every day. On the one hand, this desert island is really boring, with no entertainment at all. On the other hand, only upgrading and practicing can allow him to consume excess energy and stop thinking wildly. And only by maintaining a peaceful mind can he better resist the mental pollution of the desert island. After the training, he jumped on Boss Xia's back, found an open space, and started cooking. While cooking, he thought. After the last world level upgrade, he found that the world had not changed at all. The monsters are still the same monsters, and they haven't become stronger. The forest was still the same forest, and no elf lowly girl suddenly jumped out. But he believed that there must be some changes that he didn't know about. As he was thinking, a beep sounded suddenly from the panel. Wang Meng is a little strange. He hasn't done much recently. Why is there a notification sound? He opened it curiously and saw that someone was chatting with him privately. Am I dazzled? Someone sent me a message. Wang Meng rubbed his eyes to confirm that it was not his hallucination. Soon, he jumped up excitedly and cried with joy. It's been more than a month. Players finally have someone online. Family, my little darlings, here I come. Wang Meng let out a strange cry and immediately clicked on the message. Is classmate Wang Meng here? I'm Li Jun. Please reply when you receive it. Brother Jun. It's me. You are finally online. I miss you so much. I really miss you so much. Li Jun on the opposite side was stunned. What's going on with Player Zero? The two of them have only chatted twice, but they don't actually know each other very well. Isn't he too enthusiastic? Ahem. Classmate Wang Meng, how are you doing lately? Oh, very good. Eat well. Drink well, sleep well. Li Jun was stunned and his expression became serious. Is Player Zero going crazy? Well, classmate Wang Meng, let's get down to business. You say, I listen. Alas, it rains every day on this desert island recently, and my pants are all wet. My mother used to say that you must bring an umbrella when it rains. Dad never brings an umbrella, so the two of them always fight about it. As soon as Wang Meng opened his mouth, he kept talking and kept talking. He hasn't communicated with anyone for a long time, and he longs for communication. Although he only stayed on this desert island for a few months, he felt as if he had been here for many years. After talking for a long time, the two of them started talking about business. Classmate Wang Meng, this is what happened. We found a player over there who has awakened special abilities. She may have a way to summon you back, but she must first obtain your body medium. After hearing what Li Jun said, Wang Meng froze on the spot, tears streaming down his face. This was the best news he had heard in the past few months, bar none. Is he finally going to end this desert island survival life and go back to Blue Star to show off? He didn't expect happiness to come so suddenly, catching him off guard. Brother Jun, the media can take whatever they want, and I'll give you all the hair right now. If you don't think it's enough, I'll give you all the hair down there too. When Li Jun heard this, he quickly refused. No. That's enough hair. After that, the two chatted for a long time, and Wang Mang also learned a lot about the latest information about Blue Star. At the same time, he also knew why players never came online again after the open beta. It turns out that it's not the players who went to a new server, but the players who want to travel through time, and now they have to pay a ticket. A person's ticket is 10 pieces of purple materials, which for Blue Star players, basically no one can take out. Upon hearing this, Wang Mang quickly opened his backpack, took out 100 purple materials, and hung them up in the auction mall. Brother Jun, you told me earlier. I have so many of these things. You can take 100 copies back first for emergencies. I will give them to you next time. Li Jun accepted it from the auction mall and couldn't believe it. In order to collect 10 purple materials, almost all the power of the Washa Kingdom was used. I don't know how many Chinese soldiers and players fell forever because of these materials. Results now. Wang Mang casually took out 100 copies. Is this reasonable? But with the facts before him, he couldn't help but not believe it. Looking at the 100 purple materials in front of him, Li Jun was also very shocked. How strong is this player 0 now? Are all those super monsters weak in front of him? Classmate Wang Mang, what level are you at now? Well, I just upgraded to 21 yesterday. I have been a little slack on the upgrade recently. I have been practicing ancient Chinese martial arts. Li Jun looked at the reply on the screen and stayed there. He is also one of the first initial players. But he is only level 6 now. Since becoming a player, he has never slacked off. He practices ancient Chinese martial arts every day and tries to fight monsters every day. And because of his special status, the country also gave him preferential resources. He has worked so hard, why is there such a big gap between everyone? Li Jun was sad for a while, but he soon came to his senses. He came with a mission. He took out a set of live broadcast camera equipment and hung it up at the auction house again. Well, classmate Wang Mang, the auction house has a live broadcast camera equipment. Just like last time, you can record your daily life and give it to me. Wang Mang nodded. He understood this, collecting data from other worlds. Under normal circumstances, he would never expose his abilities easily. But now that the situation is special, he still hopes that the country will call him back, and he is strong enough now, and many conspiracies and tricks are useless to him. If he can really be called back, he must show some muscles in advance. The two chatted for a long time before Wang Mang exited the chat interface without finishing his thoughts. Looking at the live broadcast equipment in his hand, Wang Mang happily hummed a tune. Today is a good day. Rich women want to see me every day. Today is really the luckiest day since he traveled through time. It looked like he could go home soon. Wang Mang filled a basin of water and looked at himself in front of him. In just a few months, he was already almost like a savage. No, I can never go back like this. I have to be more handsome, otherwise how will I find a girlfriend then? After saying that, he started to pack it up for himself. The next day, early in the morning, Wang Mang opened the chat interface and chatted with Li Jun for 3 hours. After chatting happily, he took Boss Xie and Xiao Haitzi to start fighting monsters and upgrading. But today is different than usual. He shaved his hair short and washed his face. And today he deliberately didn't wear a shirt and only wore a pair of shorts, which showed off his perfect figure. Wheat-colored skin, strong and well-proportioned muscles, especially the pair of big chest muscles and 8-pack abs. The girl blushed and the young woman drooled. After looking at his appearance with satisfaction, Wang Mang nodded. As long as this video is put back, I can definitely find a girlfriend and no longer have to be single. Ha ha ha, it's really exciting to think about it. Wang Mang made a cool and handsome look for the live broadcast camera, then smiled evilly, turned around and rushed into the forest. Big-mouthed frog. Just throw a spear and die. A 30-meter giant snake. It punched it in the head and blew it off. A 50-meter piranha. This one is good. This one can be played for a few more seconds. Soon, the day's hunting was over. Then Wang Mang didn't even eat, so he took Li Jun to chat for another 2 hours. In this way, until 3 days later, Li Jun logged off with a numb look on his face. He swore that he never wanted to chat with anyone again in his life. China. In a huge conference room. Hundreds of people were sitting at attention. Everyone here is a big boss of China. At this time, they were holding one of China's most secret special meetings. I saw the huge screen. A young man was naked, only wearing a pair of large underpants, and kept posing in front of the screen. He was either flexing his abs or shaking his chest, and he had been posing for more than an hour. Li Jun sat in the corner, covering his face with his hands and not daring to raise his head. So shameful. It's really so embarrassing. After watching for more than an hour, someone finally couldn't help but speak. What is Player Zero doing? Li Jun, has Player Zero gone crazy? Li Jun quickly stood up and answered. Commanders, please rest assured that Player Zero's mental state is absolutely normal. He might just be bored. Quote, on the side, the country's top psychologist suddenly spoke. This should be a manifestation of depression caused by not communicating with others for a long time, which is understandable. Humans are social animals after all. If they don't communicate with others for a long time, they may soon lose their language function and become a savage existence similar to Tarzan. Player Zero seems to be in pretty good shape at the moment. He probably talks to himself a lot and entertains himself. This is much better than becoming that kind of autistic personality. At least now we can still communicate with him normally. Quote, just as he finished speaking, the picture on the screen finally changed. The young man smiled evilly at the camera and rushed into the forest at extremely fast speeds. 4 or 5 drones followed him quickly, taking pictures from all directions. The forest blocks out the sky and is densely packed with monsters. 10-meter level, 20-meter level, 30-meter level, even in the end, a supergiant spider exceeding 50 meters appeared in the shot. That terrifying and huge figure made them feel a strong sense of oppression across the screen. In the entire conference room, everyone's breathing became depressed and rapid, and even cold sweat appeared on the back. Compared with these super monsters, the ones that appeared on Blue Star are all dull level, they are simply weak. If these super monsters really come to Blue Star through the black restricted area and cannot be killed by thermal weapons, then mankind may really be doomed. At least it is absolutely impossible for current players to defeat such a terrifying monster. Soon, in the video, all these terrifying monsters fell at the young man's feet. One blow, one blow, one blow. No monster can block Player Zero's blow. At the end of the picture, the boy stood on the corpse of a super spider. The concave shape started again. He kept flexing his 8-pack abs and showing off his strong body. And now, no one dares to question this kind of twosome behavior. At this moment, everyone understands one fact. Player Zero has exceeded the boundaries of humanity. Just like those in ancient legends, he has become a godlike existence. The scene in the video has finished playing, but the entire conference room was silent. This video gives them a glimpse into the gaming world. At the same time, it also made them understand the importance of Player Zero. This is an existence completely different from other players in Blue Star. Anyway, no matter what the cost, they must summon Player Zero back. But at the same time, there are also a small number of people who are a little afraid. Will the emergence of such a powerful individual really bring peace to human society? How's Project Zero going? All conditions have been met and can officially start at any time. Then, let's start right away. I can't wait to see this child. The old man sitting in the main seat spoke slowly and made the final decision. Soon, all units of the 826th Bureau began to take action. 10 minutes later, several heavy armored vehicles arrived at Xuanshan Super High School and left quickly with Bai Yan and others. The armored vehicle moved forward and soon came to an uninhabited mountainous area. In the middle of the mountainous area, a large number of troops have gathered. Principal Chen led Bai Yan and others to the center of the army. A young man in military uniform came over. Wearing a military uniform, he has a tall and straight body, handsome appearance, and an iron-blooded aura about him. He is the youngest major general in China, Wang Longhua. Principal Chen saw his immediate boss and walked up eagerly. Major General Wang, are you coming in person this time? Well, the higher-ups take this mission very seriously. And I personally also want to meet this Player Zero. Wang Longhua smiled and turned to look at the nervous Bai Yan behind Principal Chen. This girl is the most important part of their mission. After a few minutes, Bai Yan stood in the open space in the middle of the army, nervously grabbing the corner of her skirt and looking at everyone around her in fear. She is wearing all kinds of blue equipment all over her body, which are all kinds of equipment that can increase energy collected by the whole country. At the same time, she also carries various energy recovery items in case of emergency. And next to her, there are more than a dozen talented players who can restore energy carefully selected to help her restore energy at any time. Zhang Shang stood next to Principal Chen, looked at the huge formation in front of him, and asked in a low voice with curiosity on his face. Principal Chen, what is Project Zero? Why have I never heard of it? Principal Chen glanced at him. Project Zero is currently the country's most secret plan, and ordinary players have never heard of it. Logically speaking, Zhang Shang is completely unqualified to stand here. But who allowed this kid to have any relationship with Player Zero? Therefore, it was specifically stated above that he must be brought along. Principal Chen glared at Zhang Shang and said warningly, "Just watch. Remember, this is the top secret of the country. Whatever you see later, you must not tell anyone else, otherwise you will be arrested for treason." Quote. Zhang Shang shrugged his shoulders, smiled stupidly, and said no more. He turned back to look at Bai Yan directly in front of him, a little curious. Zhang Shang was a little curious. What is so special about this woman? She actually caused such a big fight. And at this time, Bai Yan stood in the middle, very nervous. Although after becoming a player, her broken limbs and burns have completely healed. But the psychological trauma remains. She is very afraid of other people's eyes and hates being in crowds. She lowered her head, not daring to look at anyone, and just held the medium in her hand tightly. Bai Yan, don't be nervous, just start. Bai Yan raised her head slightly and saw that Zhang Xiaolong had walked to her side and was speaking to her gently. When she saw Zhang Xiaolong, a glimmer of light suddenly appeared in her eyes. With a slight nod, Bai Yan began to activate her abilities. She raised her right hand, and the medium in her hand slowly turned into light spots and disappeared. Inherent talent. Medium summoning. Launch. As the ability was activated, Bai Yan's energy value began to decrease rapidly, and various means of restoring energy began to act on her. Just after Bai Yan sent her ability, soon, the surrounding space began to distort. It seems like something wants to tear through the boundaries of space and come into this world. Everyone saw the distorted space in front of them and looked nervous. Can Bai Yan really summon Player Zero back? What will Player Zero do when he comes back? Just when everyone was nervously watching, the space in front of him suddenly became violently distorted. A black figure crawled out. Looking at the figure that suddenly appeared in front of him, everyone's eyes were wide open, looking ahead with fear on their faces. What the hell is this? Prepare. Plan B is ready for execution. Major General Wang roared. Moment. The tens of thousands of soldiers around them all raised their guns and pointed them at the black figure in front of them. Far away, 100 meters away, hundreds of heavy sniper rifles have all been aimed. The muzzles of the tank group are ready. Report, all sniper rifles are ready. Report, all long-range missiles have been locked. Report, small nuclear warheads have been prepared. Following Major General Wang's order, the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Zhang Shang felt bad as he listened to the report on the walkie-talkie. Why are the nuclear warheads ready? Aren't you afraid of death? He turned around and looked at everyone around him. Everyone looked serious. All the soldiers present seemed to have been mentally prepared to die. He swallowed his saliva and asked softly, Principal Chen, can I go first? Principal Chen ignored him, but stared at the black figure in the middle. Only in the open space. Countless tiny black squares overlap and change, forming a black figure. This black figure has no facial features, but these black squares make up his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. What Bai Yan summoned was not a human at all, but a black mosaic. What exactly is going on? What about Player Zero? Is Player Zero dead? Or, just like what he thought at the beginning, Player Zero was just a monster from the beginning, and all of this was just a trap. Looking at the black mosaic figure in front of them, everyone felt frightened, huge fear, and endless oppression coming towards them. The monster in front of me is very strong. It's obviously just a small figure. But in everyone's eyes, it seemed as if there was a terrifying giant 100 meters high standing in front of them. The dark mosaic of evil seemed to swallow them all up. Just when everyone was ready to take action at any time, the black mosaic in front of them suddenly raised its foot. With this movement, the black body could no longer hold up, and countless mosaic squares fluttered in the wind. Its body is disappearing at an extremely fast speed. In the end, only one head of the black figure was left. It kept opening its mouth and shouting silently. But there was no sound. As the black figure completely disappeared, everyone's violently beating hearts slowly calmed down. Look back. Bai Yan was already lying on the ground sweating profusely and passed out. Her energy was depleted. That's all. Project Zero ultimately failed. The video of the black mosaic figure was also sent to the highest conference hall. In the huge conference hall, all the big guys from China gathered again. They looked at the black figures in the video, all with serious expressions. Project Zero finally summoned a black mosaic. This was really unexpected for them. We have just counted all the soldiers present, and almost everyone thinks that this black mosaic is very evil, and it should have some kind of spiritual pollution. What's going on with Player Zero? Is he already dead? It's possible that we still have too little information about the monster world. I think it's impossible for him to die. We also watched yesterday's video. There is no doubt about the power of Player Zero. What if this black mosaic is Player Zero? After hearing this, everyone fell silent. This possibility is not impossible. We must send people to the monster world again to confirm the life and death of Player Zero. I don't agree. This thing looks too evil. Maybe we were deceived from the beginning. It is simply an evil monster. I don't agree either. All the purple materials in the country have been consumed. If we want to get more tickets, we have to sacrifice countless elites. Just when everyone was arguing, the old man sitting in the main seat glanced at Li Yong, and then nodded slightly. Li Yong understood instantly. In fact, Player Zero gave them 100 purple materials last time. And only a few people present knew this news. 100 copies of the purple material are too expensive, and I'm afraid there aren't so many in the world. If this news is released, I'm afraid everyone here will want a piece of the pie. The old man sitting in the main seat patted the table and suddenly shouted loudly. Okay, this matter will be handed over to Bureau 826. You don't have to panic, the sky hasn't fallen yet. Soon, the meeting came to an end. And in everyone's mind, they only remember that evil black mosaic. At this time, on a desert island, Wang Mang was confused. Just now, he felt ripples suddenly appear in the space around his body, and then disappeared with a pop. After disappearing, he came to a space full of thick fog. The white mist is very thick, and you can vaguely see people everywhere around you. He tried shouting, but there was no response. This foggy space was extremely quiet, without any sound, which made people feel extremely strange. After hesitating for a while, thinking of what Li Jun said before, he was ready to step into the fog. As a result, as soon as he lifted his feet, a huge suction force suddenly came from the space around him. Looking back, he was still where he was. It's like he never left. What happened just now? Could it be my imagination? Or is it that their plan to summon me failed? Wang Mang shook his head, not sure. Let's wait until Li Jun comes again next time and ask him. In fact, from the beginning when Li Jun said he wanted to summon him back, he didn't have high hopes. As the time on the island grows longer and longer, he found that his situation was far more complicated than he imagined. Especially when he liberated his strongest form, the super-possessed spirit's terrifying superposition of resistance made the world in his eyes look different. He could vaguely see that there seemed to be countless inaudible threads on his body. They wrap themselves up in layers and tightly bind themselves to this space. And when I wanted to touch these threads, there was nothing. Are you trapped in this world because of your inherent talent? Or is there another reason? Even he can't figure it out now. After thinking about it for a long time, he couldn't think of a reason, so he simply stopped thinking about it. Everything is virtual, only my own strength and the fist in my hand are real. Wang Mang's eyes were firm and no longer confused. He had a premonition that the black mosaic figure he encountered in the reward chest would appear again. It will definitely come back to you again. Wang Mang got up and kept jumping in the forest. Hunt, hunt, hunt. Only by constantly upgrading can he gain a sense of security. Only by constantly upgrading can all conspiracies and conspiracies come to naught. A few days later. Ding, kill the big-mouthed frog, get a white treasure box, and upgrade your level to level 22. Wang Meng distributed all the attributes evenly, and then decomposed the big-mouthed frog corpse in front of him. Since he upgraded to level 20, killing the big-mouthed frog will no longer have the leapfrog attribute, and the probability of exploding a treasure chest will be much lower, and sometimes a white treasure chest will be exploding, just like now. But that didn't matter to him. Now, except for some special blue equipment that carries equipment skills, other low-quality equipment has little effect on him. And he is no longer the poor boy he was before. Not only does he have a lot of blue sophisticated equipment in his space backpack, but he also has 2 pieces of purple equipment on him. In recent times, he has killed many 50-meter monsters, but he only exploded 2 purple treasure chests in total. One was the treasure chest he exploded when he killed the 50-meter level monster Orochi for the first time, which revealed a purple quality explosive scimitar. The other one was exploded by a 50-meter giant spider. Equipment: Spider Fang. Type: Necklace. Quality: Purple Rare. Attributes: Physique +10, Spirit +10, Energy +100. Effect: Effect 1. After wearing, the energy recovery speed increases by 30%. Effect 2. Spider Mark. Consume a certain amount of energy to apply a spider mark to the target. During the duration of the mark, the movement speed will be increased by 10% and the attack speed will be increased by 10%. The mark lasts 60 seconds and has a cooling time of 20 seconds. The effects of the spider mark can be superimposed. Effect 3. Spider Shadow. By consuming a certain amount of energy, you can create a spider shadow clone. The shadow clone's strength is 50% of its current strength. The skill duration is 10 minutes and the cooling time is 1 hour. Rating: 3 stars. This spider fang is found in the purple treasure chest, and it comes with 2 active skills. At the same time, the active skills on Spider's Fang equipment and his inherent talents can also play a role. To a certain extent, this piece of equipment is already regarded as a small piece of magic equipment for him. The biggest function of this piece of equipment is to increase his upgrade speed. Wang Meng stood on the tree trunk and thrust the explosive scimitar into the tree trunk. Super Possessed Spirit, Super Possessed Spirit, Super Possessed Spirit. Super Enchantment superimposes 10 times. All attributes are increased by 300%, physical resistance is increased by 300%, elemental resistance is increased by 300%, toughness is increased by 300%, mental resistance is increased by 300%, and 10% of the maximum physical value and 10% of the maximum energy value are restored every second. Intermediate Muscle Strengthening, Intermediate Muscle Strengthening, Intermediate Muscle Strengthening. Intermediate muscles are strengthened 60 times, and muscles are strengthened 2,400%. As his skills continued to stack up, Wang Meng's figure began to grow bigger and bigger. The dense muscles overlapped tightly, as if totem-like muscle tattoos were carved on Wang Meng's body. The huge heartbeat thump, thump, thump. Like war drums, they welcomed the king's return. Due to the slow flow of qi and blood in his body, his entire body turned red. Hot air sprayed out, and there were even clouds and mist. Wang Meng's normal form, Red Muscle Giant. On the tree trunk, an 8-meter-plus red muscular giant stood there quietly. This form is only part of his strength. As he gets stronger and stronger, he rarely encounters evenly matched monsters. Lowering his head, he gently pulled out the fiery scimitar stuck on the tree trunk. Soon, the pocket-sized explosive scimitar turned into a giant blade more than 3 meters long. Weapons of blue quality and above in this game can basically change with the body shape, but the skills and special effects of the weapons will not change due to this. Stroking the giant blade in his hand, he waved it casually, and a hot red light quickly swept across it. The giant trees in front of them collapsed one after another and burst into flames, forming a long fire path. It was a fire blade exceeding 30 meters. Because the speed was too fast, only a red light could be seen. This is a skill that comes with the explosive scimitar. In its exciting giant state, the size of the fire blade not only increases several times, but its speed is also extremely fast. He looked at the flaming scimitar in his hand with satisfaction. This sword was a little stronger than he thought. He suddenly stuck the machete on the tree trunk and suddenly shouted loudly. Spider Shadow. As he activated his skills, Wang Meng's shadow in the red muscle giant state began to twist continuously. A spider monster more than 10 meters tall struggled to crawl out of his shadow. The upper body of this shadow spider monster is human. Like Wang Meng, it is covered with bulging muscles. But his lower body is a spider body with 8 legs. After the spider shadow appeared, it jumped suddenly, turned into a black shadow, and disappeared into the forest very quickly. Just as its front legs disappeared, Wang Meng's shadow began to squirm again. Another spider shadow more than 10 meters long crawled out again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since he changed jobs, the restriction of insufficient energy has been weakened. And recently, as his equipment gets better and better, his level becomes higher and higher. He no longer has energy worries. As long as a certain number of layers of super-possessed spirits are stacked, he will be like a perpetual motion machine, able to regenerate energy infinitely. And these spider shadows just summoned are half as strong as his red-muscled giant state. They will replace Wang Meng and hunt continuously. As long as they are within 10 kilometers around Wang Meng, the experience gained by these spider shadows from killing monsters will belong to him. Although these shadow spiders are only half the strength of his red-muscle giant state. But in the surrounding forest, with such strength, these spider shadows will never lose unless they encounter a super monster. During this period, Boss Xie and Heibao were also hunting everywhere, improving their levels. Wang Meng is completely freeing the two of them now. They won't die anyway, so he can just let them roam around. At the same time, he also gave an order for them to search for traces of those super monsters. After summoning the spider shadow, Wang Meng will slowly return to that ordinary boy. He sat where he was, recalling what Li Jun had said before. Since the open beta of the game, more than 80 black restricted areas have appeared around the world, and various monsters will appear in these restricted areas. Just in the past few days, the black restricted area has doubled in size, and the monsters running out of it have suddenly become much stronger. This has made the world's finally stable situation suddenly become uncontrollable. The sudden expansion of the black restricted area was exactly when he was ascending to the world level. In other words, he, the strongest super player in mankind, actually affects the pattern of Blue Star invisibly. He still doesn't know what effect the world level will have on him. But for Blue Star, raising the world level by himself will actually speed up the game process and make the monster invasion worse. What if I improve my world level again? Wang Meng looked up at the quiet forest outside, feeling a little silent. He could imagine that if he raised the world level again, Blue Star might usher in a real doomsday. Unless he can go back, those unkillable super monsters will definitely be a nightmare for mankind. Or because he upgraded too quickly, Blue Star players were not ready at all. But if he stops upgrading, how can he leave this desert island? This sea is not as simple as imagined. Without absolute strength, he would not dare to cross this sea. If he becomes stronger, Blue Star will probably perish because of him, and his family and friends will also die. If he doesn't get stronger, he will be trapped on this desert island and die alone. Wang Meng looked up at the sky and let out a long sigh. This was such a choice. When reading novels before, he always made fun of the protagonists. At the beginning, both parents died and he was left an orphan. Now it seems that only orphans are suitable to be the protagonist. Well, just as he was thinking, spider shadows returned one after another, bringing back a large number of monster corpses and treasure chests. Wang Meng decomposed the monster corpses one by one and put all the treasure boxes into the space backpack. Since getting this purple equipment, Spider Fang, his upgrade speed has obviously increased a lot. After all, he has a group of younger brothers to help him defeat monsters and clear the area, and his efficiency is much faster than his own. After doing this, he quickly left the surroundings and started looking for the next hunting spot. Soon, the 8-meter-tall red muscular giant appeared again, and in his ferocious shadow, terrifying spider monsters emerged one after another as they struggled. The hunt continues. Just like that, a few more days passed. Ding, kill the tree pig, get a white treasure box, and increase the level to level 23. Character Wang Meng. Inherent talent no cold stacking, passive skill. There is no cooldown when releasing skills, and the status effects of releasing skills can continue to stack. Rating: 6 stars beyond the devil level. Level LV23, 138,666. Physique 215, 151 plus 64. Spirit 131, 65 plus 76. Energy 1662, 1251 plus 411. The limit for ordinary humans is 10 points. Occupation: Possession Fusion Summoner, Elementary. Professional Skill 1. Summoning House. Professional Skills 2. Sharing. Professional Skill 3. Super Possession. Professional Skill 4. Summoning the Fusion Spirit. It is currently a primary inheritance. After obtaining the source of the world, you can advance your career and obtain more inheritance. General Skills. Skill 1. Intermediate Muscle Strengthening consumes 10 points of energy to increase the muscle strength of the whole body by 40%, with a duration of 120 and a cooling time of 10 minutes. Rating: 2 stars. Skill 2. None. Skill 3. None. Since the job change, in addition to gaining 5 points of free attributes, each time you level up, you will also gain 5 points of basic physical and energy attributes. The main attribute of Possession, Fusion, and Summoner is energy, and the basic energy increased by all upgrades will be doubled each time. And every time you hunt a high-level monster, there is a very low probability that you can explode a treasure that permanently increases attributes. This has also caused his basic attributes to skyrocket recently. However, as his basic attributes get higher and higher, the effects of those treasures that can permanently increase his basic attributes become weaker and weaker. Now even taking 10 servings in a row only increases the basic attributes by less than a little. This kind of treasures and various experience books came out recently. He kept them all and asked him to take them back to Bai Yan the next time Li Jun went online. If I felt right last time, their summons should have failed. However, Bai Yan's ability did indeed take effect on him, and the white mist space should be blue star. He was going to try it again. Let them summon Boss Xie next time. After all, Boss Xie is so weak. If it is really possible to summon such a weak Boss Xie back, it means that this ability does have hope of bringing him back too. Wang Meng stretched himself and closed the property panel. Finally upgraded, it makes me mad. He counted the days and found that 7 days had passed. Li Jun would probably be online again today. After tidying up, he summoned the blue crab and black treasure back. The spirit summoner's pet house is very interesting. Summoned pets have no time limit. No matter how far or where the pet is, as long as it is summoned again, it can instantly return to the summoner's side. Like now, Boss Xie looked at the master in front of him in confusion. Why did he suddenly come back? I just found a few female crabs and haven't said a few words yet. Seeing Wang Meng, Heibao immediately surrounded him and shouted happily. Now Heibao is no longer the cute little spider he was before. It has grown to 7 or 8 meters tall. It's simply a behemoth. I'm afraid it will never become a spider girl in this life. Wang Meng felt much better instantly when he saw his 2 friends. Let's go. Today's work is over. I just caught a tree pig. Let's go have barbecue. I randomly found a large open space, found some huge branches and trunks, and slashed them with a sword, and the fire ignited. Wang Meng took out several pieces of pork worth hundreds of kilograms from his space backpack, stuck them on a huge branch, and roasted them in the fire. As his strength became stronger and stronger, his appetite also became very large, and he would eat for more than an hour every day. But Boss Xie is much simpler. It directly used its big tongs to pick up a car-sized pork leg, and then grilled it like Wang Meng. It didn't care whether it was cooked or not, and started eating it directly. Heibao is very polite when eating. It will spit out black threads from the back of its butt, tie the huge pig legs into a black cocoon, and then inject some kind of venom into it. In just 10 minutes, the huge pork leg will turn into jelly, which is very satisfying to smoke. The meal took more than an hour to eat in a huge campfire. Just after finishing eating, a prompt sounded on the panel. Li Jun is online again. Opening the chat group, it turned out to be a message from Li Jun. Classmate Wang Meng, are you still there? Li Jun sent a message carefully. He was still frightened by the terrifying black mosaic figure before. At this time, Wang Meng could not wait any longer. He rubbed his hands, his face full of excitement. Brother, you are finally online, and someone is finally chatting with him again. Brother John, you're here. Have you eaten? As soon as Wang Meng started chatting, he kept talking and talked a lot. Li Jun looked at the chat panel and didn't interrupt him, just kept listening. Before, the black mosaic figure summoned by Bai Yan was too weird. Even he is not sure now whether the person who is talking on the other side is Wang Meng. In other words, what has been sending messages in the chat interface at this time is actually the weird black mosaic monster. When Li Jun thought of that scene, he felt the hairs all over his body stand up. I hesitated for a long time. He finally interrupted the other party. Are you really Wang Meng? Yes, Brother Jun, why do you ask so suddenly? I am Wang Meng. But Bai Yan summoned a black monster before. You are not Wang Meng. Li Jun's sudden question made the entire chat interface quiet. A long time. Li Jun was already breaking out in cold sweat. Why did the other party suddenly stop replying? He just deceived the other party. Could it be that his true identity has been exposed by himself? Is this going to be a showdown? It should be impossible for this black mosaic monster to crawl out of the chat group, right? Just when Li Jun was nervous, the chat group sent another message. Brother Jun, what kind of black monster? A monster made up of countless small black squares. Stop pretending, we have already discovered your true identity. Wang Meng looked at the chat messages in front of him. There was sudden silence. A monster composed of countless small black squares. Isn't this the mosaic figure he encountered when he first entered the administrator's room? Why did Bai Yan summon the black mosaic through the medium of her body? Could it be that black mosaic figure is actually himself? This joke must be too big. Wang Meng did not continue to reply to the message, but sat blankly on Boss Xia's back. No, I seem to have been summoned before. He still remembered that he entered a world of white mist, surrounded by dense figures. So the black mosaic figure summoned by Bai Yan was really him. In the eyes of Li Jun and others, they should have been just a black mosaic. Wang Meng seemed to suddenly understand something. There must be some kind of limitation in my body so they can't fully summon themselves. Is it because of my inherent talent? Or is it because my level is too high? So what they see of me is actually a mosaic. Just like when he watched videos before, some things could only be viewed after being mosaic. Although the principles are similar, his current situation may be more complicated. He must verify it with Boss Xie again. But there is one thing that Wang Meng is very lucky about, that is, Bai Yan's talent really works for him. Maybe when Bai Yan's level slowly improves, she can really summon herself back to Blue Star. Brother Jun, I probably understand. Believe me, I am really Wang Meng. As Wang Meng spoke, he ran to Boss Xie and knocked some of the carapace off his leg. Brother Jun, I hung up some more things in the auction mall. You can take them back and try again. Since you can't be summoned back completely, let's try to see if Boss Xie can be summoned. If Boss Xie is successfully summoned back, it means that Bai Yan's ability can really achieve long-distance teleportation. Li Jun looked at the chat panel in front of him and breathed a sigh of relief. His previous rhetoric was designed by the top psychologists in the country. The purpose was to trick Wang Meng into telling him. They even predicted the subsequent dialogue by analyzing Wang Meng's personality and speaking style from childhood to adulthood. It seems okay now. This Wang Meng is most likely the same Wang Meng as before, not some black monster. At least his reactions were all within the range predicted by psychologists. When Wang Meng saw that Li Jun didn't reply to the message, he was afraid that he wouldn't believe him, so he quickly sent another message. Brother Jun, what is listed in the auction mall is my pet's medium. You can take it back and try it to see if you can successfully summon it. It is a small crab, very weak, and can probably be summoned back. My own situation is somewhat special. I am researching it to see what the situation is. Quote. After waiting for a while, Li Jun came back with the message. Okay, I believe you again. Wang Meng breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Li Jun finally replied to the message. After thinking about it, he took out the experience book and the treasures that permanently increased basic attributes that he had prepared in advance in his space backpack. Brother Jun, I have recently accumulated some experience books and treasures that permanently increase basic attributes. Please help me take them back and give them to Bai Yan to help her improve her strength. It is a small token of my gratitude. After saying that, he started to look through the space backpack again. He killed so many monsters every day, and there were too many messy things in it. Soon, he found a few more white quality skill books. The probability of the skill book exploding is very low. After hunting so many monsters, he has only exploded a dozen white quality skill books and 5 blue quality skill books. But he kept them all, to no avail. After all, there are only 3 general skill columns, and he must choose the skill book that best suits him. And now that he is strong enough, he is not in a hurry to make a choice. He took out 6 skill books and went to the auction mall again. Brother Jun, I also hung up a few skill books. You choose one first, and then help me give one to each of Brother Shang and Bai Yan. Please give the rest to my family, Brother Jun. Then he also took some blue quality equipment and 100 purple materials that he couldn't use, and put them all in the auction house. Brother Jun, I put some equipment and materials in the auction mall, which I donated to the country for free. I am definitely not a monster, please believe me. Quote. Looking at the messages Wang Mang kept sending, Li Jun actually didn't doubt him for a long time. However, he still did not reply and kept a distance from Wang Mang. As a friend, he can trust Wang Mang. But as a soldier, he must be responsible for the billions of people behind him. Even if there is only one chance in 10,000, he must always remain vigilant. If Wang Mang on the opposite side is really that black mosaic monster, and like a monster in the game world, it cannot be killed, then its arrival will definitely lead to the real end of the world. He doesn't dare to gamble. After Wang Mang finished sending the message, he waited in front of the chat interface, but Li Jun never responded. Seeing several packages in the auction mall disappearing quickly, he closed the chat interface in disappointment. Brother Jun finally came here once, but it seems like he can't chat anymore. Oh, let's go fight monsters. Wang Mang stood up and looked at the vast endless forest in front of him. He let He Bao and Boss Xie hunt freely, while he rushed into the forest alone and kept heading towards the center of the island. Keep jumping between the branches. If you encounter a monster without eyes on the way, just punch it and blow it up. Over the past few months, through continuous hard work, he has long become one of the overlords of this forest, and there are very few monsters that can pose a threat to him. Wang Mang shuttled all the way very fast. After running for more than an hour, he calmed down and slowly slowed down his speed. After a few jumps, he reached the top of a 100-meter giant tree. Look ahead. I saw a huge depression in the distance. In the middle of the depression, there was an extremely large dead tree standing there. This should once have been a giant tree about several kilometers high. It's like a world tree. But now, it seems to have been broken by some kind of creature, and it has collapsed to the ground and turned into a pile of dead wood. Wang Mang looked in the direction of the giant tree. Under the big tree, a black giant ape with a height of more than 100 meters was sitting under the tree. This was the Black King Kong he had encountered twice before. He still remembered hiding in the crevices of the rocks when he had just crossed over. When he saw this 100-meter tall black diamond, he shivered in shock and didn't even dare to take a breath. Who would have thought it would be a few months later? But he stood in front of this Black King Kong. Want to hunt this terrifying giant? Wang Mang stood on the top of the tree, his eyes bright and excited. Since his job change, his strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. Even when hunting 50-meter super monsters, he never showed his full strength. He has wanted to try this black diamond for a long time. If placed in a game, this thing would definitely be like a level-clearing boss. Regardless of that huge size, it's still the black aura that condenses around it. They all told Wang Mang that this thing was definitely very strong, ridiculously strong. But it was precisely because of this power that Wang Mang was even more excited. He stood on the top of the tree and observed for a long time, but did not take action. The Black King Kong had no interest at all in Wang Mang, who was like a little bug, and didn't even look at him. I have been observing quietly for a long time. Turn around. He soon disappeared into the forest. Although he had long thought that he could successfully hunt this 100-meter Black King Kong. But he endured it and did not take action. Ever since he entered the administrator's room through the purple card, he felt a sense of vigilance in his heart. Especially after learning about the changes in the Black Forbidden Land from Li Jun. Only then did he realize that the moment he ascended to the world level, Blue Star's Black Forbidden Area had doubled in size. Whether it is the public beta of the game or the expansion of the Black Forbidden Area, all these changes indicate that he actually has some kind of connection with Blue Star. Some of your actions may have a huge impact on Blue Star. This was also the main reason why he didn't dare to hunt this Black King Kong easily. He had a premonition. If he kills this 100-meter behemoth, Blue Star is likely to usher in major changes. Wait a little longer, wait for the players to develop again. Wang Mang sighed and left the Black King Kong's territory far away. Then he turned into a red muscular giant again, and countless spider monsters climbed out of his shadow and spread around the forest. Soon, the killing started again. Just like that, 3 days later. It's time for players to log off again. This time, Wang Mang did not greet Li Jun because he knew that the other party did not believe him. He opened the chat interface and silently watched Li Jun's profile picture become dim, feeling a little disappointed. Li Jun returned to Blue Star with some of Boss Xia's carapace fragments. The news of his return was immediately informed to the Supreme Council and Bureau 826. Soon, Project Zero was launched again. A few hours later. It's the same valley as last time, with tens of thousands of troops, tanks, and snipers in position. Far away, various missiles are ready, and even nuclear weapons have been unlocked in advance this time in case of emergency. Although psychologists analyzed that Wang Mang may not have turned into a monster. But they had to be just in case. Soon, Bai Yan stood in the middle again. The media materials are consumed and the summons is activated again. As the ability was activated, the space around Bai Yan suddenly began to distort violently. A huge figure appeared in front of everyone. A huge body more than 10 meters tall. Giant pincers that can easily cut off a tank. After seeing the huge green crab, everyone present became nervous, and tens of thousands of guns were all pointed at it. They were so familiar with this kind of giant monster that it would take at least hundreds of players to kill it. Li Jun stood aside, dumbfounded. Didn't Player Zero say it's just a little pet? Where are these several story monsters small? Does he have any misunderstanding about smallness? Next to him, Major General Wang looked at the giant monster in front of him, looking nervous but also full of excitement. Player Zero's pet is really beyond his imagination. This crab is very strong, even stronger than the 20-meter super blue crab they encountered before. It is different from other elite blue crabs. Its carapace has various complicated black lines. Whether it is the appearance or the texture of the carapace, it is more powerful and domineering. Quickly, call Zhang Fan over and ask him to talk to this blue crab. Zhang Fan, a 17-year-old high school student, just a week ago awakened his 3-star ability, Language Expert. His ability allows him to communicate with any living creature, even talking to these monsters. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.